Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Vian, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket and to Headingley for day 5 of the third test between England and New Zealand. Bit of a delayed start, but we are due to be getting underway at 12 noon. England need just 113 more runs to complete a third successful chase of more than 250. Win visas England at 90%, New Zealand at 9% and 1% the draw. Joe Root and the Bishop of Rome are well set, but that 9% for New Zealand will grow if Southey, Bolt, Bracewell and Wagner can get some early wickets. I'm Tony Bishop 1, and with me are the patriarchal poet of Perth, Messy Jez. Hi, Messrs.
Hello, Tony. Welcome home.
Welcome home, thank you.
He's been hobnobbing with the royalty.
I've been hobnobbing, I have. And the bear on a bike. Parts of whom I saw when I arrived this morning that I really was not expecting to see.
I was hot.
It was pretty horrific, I've got to tell you.
I was wandering around with my top off because I've been sweating.
It was big and it wobbled, that's all I'm going to tell you.
It's smaller than it was, is all I can say.
We are talking about your tummy, let's make that very clear. Right, well, goodness me, where do we start? I guess it's all about wickets, isn't it, Messrs?
Yes, and hope. I mean, it's true that the last rain interval we had just about ruined New Zealand's second innings, so maybe something will happen, but frankly, the way England's been batting, it would take a lot to trouble them right now. So fingers crossed, or it might rain again.
Well,
I've
we're
got a
looking at the
feeling-
umpires as we speak, and there is mizzle in the air. And I knew this was fucking going to happen. As soon as we went live, it was going to start raining again. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think the covers are on again. Umpires Erasmus, and it's the Kettler, isn't it? Am I right? Is it
Yeah.
Richard Kettleborough? Well, they just appear to be wandering back. Marius Erasmus, the man from Bolland, has got a rather grumpy look on his face.
He's always got a grumpy look on his face.
A rather florid face, but nonetheless
Yeah,
grumpy.
it looks like it's had a lot of wine, and his mouth just downturns like a grumpy fucker.
Well, that would describe me at the moment, I think. Well, the wine.
Yours is,
I don't know about being grumpy.
Yours is
but
hangover induced.
You're not a grumpy fucker, Tony.
no,
You're
I'm
never a
not.
grumpy
I'm not
fucker.
grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I might be hungover, but I'm not grumpy. We were expecting to kick off at 12. I've just carefully redone the bloody rotors,
I warned you.
and it's
Yeah.
absolutely sod's law,
You
isn't
just
it?
got to do this shit on the fly, you know.
Do it on the
Yeah.
fly. Well, let's chat anyway for a wee bit.
Yeah.
So I just asked you a question, Messrs.
Yep.
I guess I'll modify it now. It is all about wickets, but mizzle in the air, floodlights on. That can substantially change conditions, can't it?
Well, it could. I mean, if it was interesting, Trent Boult didn't seem to be swinging it at all yesterday, the way he had in the first innings, and with that devastating spell where he bowled three batsmen. If he could get a bit of swing today, it could change the whole tenor of the game, because I still think he's very much the key. Southey and Wagner haven't really had much of a game, and Bracewell hasn't had a huge impact either. So it's really down to Bolton whether he can just find something.
Well,
But you know, this ball's fairly old as well.
yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
that's what I was just about to say.
Bit of reverse.
The ball is 39 overs old, and that's what's
Yeah.
really against them, isn't it? More than anything else, you'd say it's halfway through its life, and it's probably getting.
Yep.
It's been noticeably, it's been a hell of a lot easier to bat when as soon as the ball has got over about 15, 20 overs old. So, I mean, Root and Pope have got to get themselves in again. Pope will be looking for a second ton in the series. Root, you know, didn't score any runs in the first. I'm sure he wants to get close to Darryl Mitchell's. Well, he can't get close to Darryl Mitchell now, can he? Really, because there's not enough runs to play with, unless he scored pretty much all of them, I'd have thought. But Pope will be looking for that ton. One thing I do want to mention is a tweet here from, which I have to concur with. I'm looking forward to seeing Gary next time. The Jersey Jingler says, when I tweeted that Leach would get a fifer at Gary Naylor, scoffed and clattered on for a solid 15 minutes about how terrible Leach's bowling was. Well, not only has he got a 5, he's got 2 fivers and a 10 in an innings. And what I will say is spin bowlers feed off confidence of their captain. There's nothing worse than a spin bowler getting 5 or 6 overs and then being taken off.
Remind me what you used to bowl?
Left arm spin. And the one thing you do want is to get solidly into a spell and think, you know, at that age you can bowl forever. You know, if you get 15 overs, you're happy because you know, you believe you're in the game. Well, everyone does when they're bowling. And once you start getting in the wickets, the juices start flowing and you're looking for more. So, having been given his head, he's done the business, and I think we have to congratulate him on that.
Well, you've gone straight to bullet point 2 of my talking points.
Well, yes.
which was Jack Leach, 10 wickets.
Yes.
So you're ahead of me. Shall we talk about Mitchell and Blundell as well, who seem to be the cavalry for New Zealand in literally every game so far, but crucially not the successful cavalry. So 3 times. This will be the 3rd time, maybe 3rd time lucky, where vital runs. I mean, Mitchell, 190, 108, 109, a 62 not out, a 56. Blundell, 106 and 88 not out, a 55. I mean, when they come together, they're like sort of, you know, Morecambe and Wise.
Well,
I don't know.
Well,
Abbott and Costello.
it
They're
was
inseparable.
interesting when we first came in. They were talking about this, and this is exactly England's problem for the last 2 years. You know, your top 4 fail, someone's got to dig you out, and they've dug them out every time. And unfortunately, it's not quite been enough every time. I mean, Bairstow's dug us out. I mean, it's been a fascinating series, hasn't it? I mean, New Zealand have kind of played traditional Test cricket, got to some decent scores, and then England have gone Burko and managed to rein them in every. I mean, going from 55 to 6 to having a to having a 30-run lead in the first innings of this game was, 6 months ago you'd have said nope, that ain't happening. Well, we can officially say that the start's been delayed as well. The umbrellas are back up.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame.
Grumpy Yorkshire folk huddling together under their
We did hear
brothers.
from Josh, didn't we, that if rain came back, which it looks like it has,
Lunch
then
at 12:20.
they might take lunch early at 12:20, which will give them another hour to get this through and cleared up again, and hopefully get a decent start after the break.
I think that is all entirely probable.
One thing I was going to say, you mentioned, the Bairstow and his near approach. One of the things that I saw Mike Atherton talking about this earlier today, and I think it's really interesting. He said, is it actually going to be a requirement for anybody batting for England to take that McCallum approach? To go crazy, because that's going to mean a whole lot of people in county cricket are going to think their way into the test team is not through being a solid opener, but by being spectacular and successful in scoring at 5 runs and over. It's a really interesting question.
I don't think they will have to. I don't think they will. When McCullum played, not everyone played like that, did they? You've got to have horses for courses, and people play their natural game. As long as he's got Root is never going to be a man who smashes it around like Bairstow or Stokes, but he's a man who works at 360. He did another fucking reverse sweep for 6 yesterday, didn't he, of Wagner? So
that was amazing.
Exactly. The guy is so talented. You just let Root go along, and he's not going to score slowly, even though he's not going to be fireworks. Then you've got the fireworks of Bairstow. You've got the fireworks of Stokes in the middle order, which is where you want it, really. The last 2 of your top 6 are the guys who come in when the ball's old and fly it about, and those 2 can fly it about. Ollie Pope's not slow when he gets going.
Do you think they'll be able to adapt or modify that approach? If they're on a viper's nest in Chennai, is it going to be all rather different?
Well, if you look at how England played in the last series in India, it might be advantageous to try and play some fucking IPL in India next time you go there, because if you're only going to be out there for 30 overs, you might as well go an 8 and over and try and set something, because if it's bouncing and turning, you're better off trying to get down the pitch and at the pitch of the ball, or trying to put the bowler off his length, because if you let them bowl at you, you're going to get one that's going to get you out. So you might as well take it back to the bowlers. It's a strategy that's worth trying out there.
Yeah. I'd go along with that. Another thing I think probably worth a quick chat is just the general spirit of this series, by and large. Both sides seem to have played it with a smile on their face, and a generally friendly but intensely competitive competition. Very unlike playing Australia.
Yeah.
Well, yes, no.
How so?
My view is, I think the Ashes tests were played in a different spirit as well. I think Root and Cummins both went into those tests with an intention not to make it personal, not to get really grumpy and nasty. And that was much friendlier than, generally speaking, we've seen in Ashes tests previously.
I'd say
the West Indies series was good. Yes, I think there seems to be a move towards, and maybe it's because people play with each other so much in IPL and so on.
Yeah, probably.
Less personality coming into it, and more of a genial atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I would 100% go along with that. The Bears already leaving us. Why don't you update us who is with us, and we will decide
indeed.
what to do from
there. Mog comes in and says, who in hell would opt to play cricket in England in June? Also, hello. Mind you, we've been pretty lucky this June, haven't we? Not too much interruption. Warren says, good morning all. The pawn bot is with us. It says, Bear is balls out for the Bishop here. And in response to your tweet, Tony, for Guerrilla Cricket, and we're live for the finale of the third test, Mog says, are we just?
Yeah, well, we are live. We're live. However, you mentioned the pawn bot. We were going to play the new pawn bot jingle, actually, but the Bears disappeared, and I can't quite reach across.
We'll do that in a minute.
When he comes back, we will.
Our friend Brian in Brisbane via Northampton is on YouTube with us. He says, I hope Tony feels better soon. Maybe there's a hair of the dog left in the fridge there in Gorilla Guitars, because he sent some beers yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. I might well take him up on that.
And every Kiwi is doing a rain dance to see a draw happen.
Are they though? Are they? I mean, I don't know. The
of course
nature of
they
this. Well, I suppose you can argue that there's, World Championship test points and what have you at stake. We're
Gary's
watching.
listening.
Gary, is he? He's still going to be
He
arguing
says-
that Leach is rubbish.
He says, I'm not always right, shock. And his ball,
Can we have that again?
and his
You might want to
Gary
retweet that.
Naylor says, I'm not always right,
Oh,
shock.
brilliant! Oh, you've got to retweet that.
And his bowling in this match was largely very different in terms of line and length, and thus drift and turn. Fair play to him, but I'd like to see more of this new Leach before I reverse my view entirely.
Fair enough.
I've got to say one thing that makes a massive difference in terms of Leach's bowling is that he had some runs to bowl at.
Yeah.
Basically, no spinner has had any runs to bowl at for the last 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
has
true.
he?
Yeah.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I mean, we've struggled to get 300 for 2 years, and then we scored all those runs on flat decks at the end of Root's thing in the West Indies. And in these games, we've chased 287, 200 odd in the last game, and if we get it today, it'll be 296 or something. We're chased in a 4th innings. I mean, this is it for England. It's kind of unheard of. So it's like.
Were you there to hear Gary's response?
I've just seen it. I went up
Right,
to tweet
yeah.
feed. Yeah, if you're listening, Gary, it's only light-hearted. But I was arguing for Leach. You got to give a bowler his head, and it's difficult to judge any spinner for England in the last 2 years. I don't think, to be fair, Root just didn't know how to bowl a spinner. He never really gave him his head. It was always like it was reluctance to put on the spinner unless it was himself. And in fact, sometimes he put himself on ahead of Leach, didn't he? So I mean, that's not going to engender any bloody confidence in your spinner who's in your side. He thinks he's just hanging in there as a spare wheel.
Yeah.
Well, we can tell you.
Overs.
Yeah, we can tell you very quickly. There is cricket at Taunton. 42 for 2, South Africa, in the
And Izzy
single
Wong has
women's test.
got a wicket in her first.
She did indeed. 1 for 8 for her.
First test.
Goodall and Luce are both in at the crease
That's Wolfhard
for South Africa. We were going to play. We've already had a message from the porn bot. So I was just wondering if you wanted to unveil. Obviously, we have our spanner men.
Our spanner men have got themselves a jingle.
Always primed, ready to help. So we've got.
So
Jeff Perkins has done a little something for him.
There, this is for our spanner men.
It's tea break on a Saturday, and Missy Jez requests a song. There's an old man who is up for it once he takes a hit on his bong. Missy, I can sing you a parody about a brave discard admin who cannot control his own spanner because he is senile and dim. Koala la koala, koala la koala la la. Pissed off the bot, I'm the spanner man. Banish some accounts tonight, 'cause we're not in the mood for a parody, and Pornbot has us figured right. Koala la koala, koala la koala la
What a work of art!
That's the work of art for our spanner men on YouTube.
Thank you, Spannermen,
Is
for
it-
your
I've gotta tell you,
vigilance.
And lady, of course.
Yes, and Spanner Woman.
Perko's a genius. Not only did he compose all of that and record it, he did it within an hour and a half of me asking him for it. That's fantastic.
It is. It's an amazing turnaround. It's good stuff. The other big news today is,
Oh,
of course,
Owen Morgan.
Well, yeah, bloody hell, I can't believe we didn't even open the show with it. I mean, it's not the test.
I did think about that.
Yeah,
I
well-
did think about it. Then I thought, well, no, let's deal with the test first.
Okay. Well, the
Seeing
big
as the
news
test
is
in front of us.
that my grating at Owen Morgan seems to have worked because he's retired.
Well,
And now he has my respect back.
The
Well, he
word is
hasn't
he will
announced it yet.
announce it tomorrow. So it hasn't been, but it seems to be in all the news channels, and he's obviously said
I'm
he
going to
will announce
retire.
it.
And it's the right thing to do. And,
yeah.
and stupidly, they picked fucking Mott just bloody 2 months ago, giving him a contract. Why? I don't know what. Maybe he was trying to hang in there, but they should have just waited a little bit longer and let him retire and boot him upstairs and let him run the team from the outside. Then it would be the same group of players. There's a ready-made replacement and a better replacement, you'd probably say, in Liam Livingston, as I was saying the other day, who slots in nicely at number 5 slot.
I think there's a counter argument to that, though.
Yeah,
One,
me too.
I absolutely agree with you. The time is right. His legacy is secured. He has been magnificent. He hasn't just won a tournament. He's completely transformed an approach
ODI cricket, hasn't he? Yeah.
English white ball cricket. So his legacy is 100% assured. To go out without tarnishing that with a string of low scores and limping off with a dodgy groin every so often.
Well, he's done that already.
However, you sort of need a clean break. So to bump somebody
Yes.
straight upstairs runs the risk of
out.
him not quite being, of him still being around somehow. Do you know what I mean?
Can they review that? Sorry. That's plum as plum could be.
Well, I'm glad I made that point.
Well, no. I was listening. But I was just watching
I
the TV.
totally agree with you, Tony. I was going to say the same thing. That if you put a captain into a coaching position, there's a real risk that the old guard will still be the ones who are favoured in terms of the way the team runs.
So for Mott,
And I think it's, he can play a part on the coaching team without any doubt. But I think give him a chance. And the other thing is, just because he's a good captain doesn't mean he's inside edge, isn't it?
No.
Doesn't mean that that he'll make a good coach.
No.
You just never know.
I don't think you really need to coach this side. That's the thing. I mean, that was kind of the point that Rob Key or someone made, wasn't it? Or maybe it was BMAC, wasn't it? I mean, it was basically saying you don't need to coach this side. They know exactly what they're doing, and to a certain degree, you don't. ODIs aren't really that complicated. Same as T20 aren't really that complicated. It's see ball, hit ball. Try and keep it's as plum can be. I told you. It's hitting middle stump. South Africans have lost a third wicket and now 44 for 3. Terrible umpiring. Absolutely terrible umpiring.
yeah, she's doing the old. What's her name? Joel Wilson signal.
Yeah.
The patented Joel Wilson
I got it wrong.
crossing of the chest.
Crossing my arms. Yeah, possibly.
Well, I just tweeted out that I thought there would be a collective sigh of relief around the country with Morgan going. Because I think pretty well everybody reached the conclusion that he'd reached his use-by date as a player in the team.
Well, yeah, and it was becoming more and more prevalent in the press as well, and he must, people must tell him, or he must get that inclination, and he must know as well. I mean, everyone else is bashing hundreds against the Dutch, and he comes out and scores, 3 or none in about 5
No, 2
balls.
ducks.
2 ducks, there you go, in about 5 balls or something.
2 ducks and then a dodgy injury the next day,
Yeah.
which didn't stop him playing a benefit match on Sunday.
I mean, I guess it's hard to give up what you've been doing, and kudos for him for realising it. Maybe a couple of months too late, but there was nothing going on in the meantime. So we haven't played a lot of white ball cricket, and he's played enough now to realise that his time's come.
And you can't judge the side really on the basis of the Netherlands. So those new players will get a run definitely in the T20s and the ODIs against India. Louis just messaged me and said not sure what game the umpire was watching there.
Yeah,
So it was,
exactly.
I think he's obviously watching it with all us. I know he's working from home today. So
Warren has just tweeted, Hales must be praying that Owen Morgan fucks right off.
well, there's an interesting one. I mean, is this the clean break that gets Hales back into the fold?
Well, the problem with Hales is he's 35 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Phil Salt is how old? I don't know. He's in his 20s, isn't he? And you do. I mean, Phil Salt probably won't be in the starting 11 because Bairstow gets his slot back, and Darren Milan probably stays in the T20 side, but maybe not on the ODI side because I know Root still wants to play, and Root is good enough in an ODI side. Maybe not. I mean, I'd still have him in a T20 side to be fair, but they seem to have gone past that. But I think Root gets his spot back in the ODI side as well, so probably Milan and Salt. I mean, I would give Salt a run out against India and Pakistan, in these upcoming ODIs and T20s that we're going to be playing up until the World Cup, just to see how he does against better attacks, see if he can still do it. Because obviously it was the Netherlands, and he got a fine ton. He's done it against the West Indies, so there's no reason to think he shouldn't. He can't. So I would, he might be the next cab off the rank, and Hales, Owen Morgan might have retired too late for Hales to get another run.
Indeed.
So what do we want to do, guys? What's our plan?
We just got hey. News is in. Yesterday, Andrew Waring and Mark Selleck became Patreons. Today, Alex Sutcliffe and Pokey Bumfinger have both become Patreons.
Well, welcome.
Fucking brilliant.
Thank you very
much. Welcome, guys.
Does Mr. Bumfinger, does he transfer money under his name of Mr. Bumfinger, or do we get to know what Mr. P. Bumfinger is really called in this process?
I think Pokey he's using the same name on Discord, but everyone has different names to what their tweet handles are.
Yeah, you never know who you're talking to.
They have different names on YouTube. It gets really bloody confusing as to who's who. I'm imagining that Brian in Brisbane, is that Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, you see?
Yes.
There you go.
It is, absolutely.
Brian
And he's actually in Northampton.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Leah says, hello everyone. Frantically working on a rain hex to save New Zealand's blushes. You may thank me later, Spinnergrace. To which Spinnergrace says, if this doesn't work, I'm going to request that you revise your hexes and curses section. And Omre Nuova says, hello fantastic pilots of Planet GC. Thank you, Omre Nuova. I hope the hangover's gone now.
Cool.
Just on
both
that,
of us.
We won't actually be opening the GPL today, given that we've got a very likely outcome ahead of us. But we will, on Friday, for the first day of the India Test match, be in there with a GPL pot of 180 quid, if you don't mind.
Right, well, I'm still going to say, what shall we do? Shall we keep chittering and chattering? Let's have a quick look at any news updates for a second, so we can let you know
I've got it
if there's any play due. There is a chance, I suppose, it could end as a draw. The last I heard was likely to remain drizzly until 2 o'clock at least. So if it remains drizzly until 2, let's assume they can't come straight back on. There may be no play now till 3.
Well, in that case, you know what this calls for, don't you?
Yes.
Are we going to go for very, very dark?
No. We're going to in terms of what we're going to when the rain comes. No, I'm just thinking.
I've got to confess to a vested interest. I took a fiver on the draw at 20-1 last night when I saw the forecast.
Well, actually, let's have a quick look while you look for whatever you're looking for there. I'm going to see if our friends at Winviz have responded with every drop of rain, presumably, is going to just up a little bit, that 9% from New Zealand. But no, they haven't seen fit to change anything on that just yet. So they've still got 99 and 1 for the draw. I would have.
I've got to say, looking at the radar, there's still a few showers around, but my expectation is that, at the very latest by 3 o'clock we'll be through the showers, and then it'll be clear. And that, even if we don't start till tea time, that's still plenty of time for England.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be annoying having to sit here and do nothing all day, but I've got the perfect salve for that. As it's England, New Zealand.
Go on then.
We're going to go back to the World Cup final. We haven't played this for a while.
What a good idea. That won't tempt fate at all. I think
another
fourth wicket has gone down, has it? Yep.
Yes.
Lee's got. She may yet review. She has reviewed. Let's just hold off and see what happens on this review. Would have been a second wicket for Bell if she gets it, but we don't actually know that yet, so we're going to have a look.
What was it for? I wasn't watching.
It's
another
wide.
in-swinger.
It really swung in.
I think that's pretty good, actually.
That looked pretty good to me. It's a heck of a lot of swing she's generating.
She doesn't bowl very quick. It's always going to come back in. There's no inside edge. It's a question of whether it's in line, really. I don't think it's swinging too much, but I think it might actually be outside the line. You can see the leg stump behind her. It's outside. Umpire's called just. That's going to be out then.
Oh, that's out. It's already given, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was given.
To be fair, that's out. I mean, I'd say I know what is the tolerance for umpires' call, because that
It only has to be.
looks
It only
out.
has to be something in the region of. So if any of it's crossing the line, then and it's given out, it's umpire's call.
Well, it's the end of Lizelle Lee. It means that South Africa are all in the bit of the mire at 45 for 4.
With the main
No.
guns out.
Yeah. Who's done the damage very quickly? 1 for 14 for Kate Cross. Lauren Bell, she's just picked up her first wicket. So 1 for 14 for her. Izzy Wong 1 for 10. Natseva 1 for 2 off 3 overs. Fantastic figures for her. Exciting
So,
stuff.
Sharing it all around. Right.
Just
so
a couple of tweets before we go.
Okay.
Spicy Golden Duck says, "Good afternoon, Grillers. Some glorious jinglage on display." In other news, little Sammy Curran has got his maiden first-class century for Surrey against Kent. Surrey are 545 for 5. And Omri Nueva says, "That pot will help the Blues if the COVID outbreak at home puts a dampener on going to the Hollies stand on Sunday.
Ooh, yeah.
Roll on Friday." And Mog says maybe an additional Patreon benefit could be the list of names everyone uses on various social media.
they have to out themselves, I'm afraid. It's not our job to out people.
What were we thinking of doing for our Bishop and Bear this week?
I don't
Jim
know.
Birchall, you'd said. But I've got to get hold of him, haven't I? Yes.
No, I said Dan Brettu.
Oh, and have you?
Oh,
no, I
you
haven't.
didn't actually. But never mind. All right, okay. We'll
And
work it out.
just saying hello, Danny Pat says it's pissing down here in Gateshead. Pokey Bungfingers with us, and Suda Who is with us as well, and Stephen Kelk. So hello to all of you guys, and I'm sorry we're going to piss off for a while again. But
Yeah,
you can
we are.
listen
It's
to
gonna be a rain
the
today.
World Cup final again.
She is getting every. I keep watching this. I'll be quite enjoying watching the women's test from down there in Taunton. But I have to say, Lauren Bell is getting so much in swing. So much. She's absolutely hooping it in the air. Yes, I grant you, possibly not super express pace, but I wouldn't want to be facing a ball swinging that much.
Well, no, the thing is, if the slower you bowl, the more it generally tends to swing. That's why you get guys in leagues when it's overcast in sort of
True enough.
Sunday league and Saturday league, they fucking hooping it round corners.
45 for 4 there, 18 overs gone, Contox in the background, and you have light fluffy cloud and plenty of blue sky in Taunton. So that's got to be good. But what are we going to play now then?
Well, we're going to go to the World Cup final.
World Cup final, of course.
Second innings of the World Cup final, 2019. Owen Morgan's retired today, so it seems quite fitting. And it was against New Zealand.
Sorry,
which is also
before you
quite
go,
fitting.
just news, just come in. They're having an early lunch at 12:30, so at that rate we would hope to be starting at 1:10
Yeah. So you'll get this. See you later.
Them being New Zealand and England. New Zealand taking the field. England will have to chase 242 to win the World Cup after 47 and a half matches. It all comes down to the next 2 or 3 hours. Can England get themselves over the line? I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and I'm joined on my right by none other than Paul Howarth, Grubby78.
Hello everyone, this is incredibly exciting.
And on my left, on your tweets, it's Pralab Gupta.
Hi everyone, very much looking forward to this. Every 4 years this happens, and there's going to be some classic final moments in the
Sometimes
second
every
innings.
5 though, earlier in the
Or even
tournament's
3.
lifetime.
Oh, 87 to 92, yes,
87 to 92,
Yeah,
92 to 96, and then 96 to 99. There was anyway. That's a discussion for another day. England's openers are on the way to the crease, and they are these men.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
And
Johnny Best is smarter than the average Besto. Johnny Best has been this good since daycare, so all put on the wigs and let the crimson hair flow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can hit the sixes, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Johnny Best is smarter than the average Besto.
a man who drinks all of his drinks through a straw to be opening the bowling.
How does he speak, or play the horn, or clean his teeth, or even yawn? How does he shout? How does he call?
He's going to be bowling from the pavilion end, hoping to make use of the slope that slopes from grandstand to mound stand to tavern of about 2.5 metres, is it, I think. And he's going to be bowling to Jason Roy. We're going to see whether this pitch is as slow and lifeless as I suggested, or whether this is in fact a good score that New Zealand have managed to put on the board. It wasn't edifying watching it. It was hard to watch, wasn't it? Hard to watch, I think. But they've got the runs on the board, and they did it against India with something very similar. It's going to be all about these first 10 overs, I think, as Trent Boult is at the end of his run-up. Quite a lot of people still not back from their lunches, but anyway, here we go. Into Roy. One down the pad, that's worth a shout! And Marius Erasmus just quietly shakes his head, almost imperceptibly. And
that looks interesting.
They're thinking about that.
Bloody close,
It was close, but maybe just going down the leg side.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction as well.
He's trying to review it. Well, I suppose it is Jason Roy. What a start this would be for New Zealand if Jason Roy has gone. He looks a little bit perturbed. Bairstow pats him on the chest as if to suggest, well, don't worry about it too much, but he's going to find out pretty soon.
That was out, that was out, that was definitely out. Was that definitely out? I don't know.
And if that's out, I want to see who's the first person on Twitter to say, we don't!
I'm sure we've got a few of those already.
Has that pushed outside leg?
Nope.
Oh, that's a good
This is really close.
Reasonably good.
Well, it
Could have been umpire's
it
call
was
as a
given
pushman.
not out, so if it's just clipping, he gets away with that. There's no inside edge that I can see.
Oh, I think this could be cannoning into the middle of leg.
Oh, it's not a bad delivery at all. Oh, my word. Jason Roy, it's not pitching outside. Oh, it's impacting line. And it's
umpires, he's lucky. He's a lucky man.
He survives. It's the time of year. It's the era of Jason Roy. He has survived. And it's a good decision by the umpire. Or maybe not. Oh, the New Zealand fans, the sailors particularly, are taking their hats off.
And on such small margins.
Indeed, indeed.
You always want Dharmasena to be umpiring that one.
Oh goodness, no, because that would have been given out, and he'd have been well back in the dressing room. Well, there you go. What a dramatic opening to the England reply, and a warning there that England should not be complacent. This one comes back into Roy. He drives, gets a thick outside edge. Was playing for a little bit more swing than there was. Flies away down to third man, and they come through for a single.
Roy will be absolutely delighted to be off strike.
Well, I don't. Yes, he will be. He will be. It's just taking me back to the New Zealand opening, where Nichols was given out, wasn't he? And then reviewed, and that was overturned.
Yep.
And he had yet to score at that point. He went on to get 55 and be the top scorer for New Zealand. So maybe that's a good omen for Jason Roy.
I need to get hold of Jason Roy and ask him what this week's lottery numbers are.
Well, the New Zealand players can barely believe it.
That would have been a great
Really
start
got-
for them.
Well, it would have been.
I was giving it out when I first saw it, I have to say, and had it been given out on the field, it would have been upheld on the field.
Yeah,
It
well,
was one of
it
those marginal ones.
was very much worth a shout, wasn't it? Boult then to Bairstow for the first time with battle off. Just one slip, and he leaves this one outside the off stump. Through it goes to Tom Latham, and there is no run.
Yeah, I'm actually, as an England fan, I'm quite happy to see Johnny Bairstow not play at that one.
Yes.
You want to feel bat on ball, don't you, at the start of your innings, and certainly these two England openers. But that maybe betrays a healthy mindset of just need to play properly.
There's a man at a shortish square leg as Bairstow goes onto the back foot, defends this back to Boult, who's bowling with real aggression. He gives a big stare to Bairstow as he pushes that one back to him. Certainly in their faces already, New Zealand, and that's the way they've got to be.
Keep it full. If I were Trent Boult, just keep it full.
Yep, and we saw how Boult dragged Virat Kohli across the crease by bowling a little bit wider of off stump, got him to come across and then got him one with the one that came back. Is he going to do the same with Johnny Bairstow? No, he's going to hit him on the pad, however. This one was probably going down the leg side. It runs into the onside. It's fielded by who is that? That's Nichols, I think. And there is no run.
Yeah, you just need the maturity from these two batsmen. They don't have to go hard at it. It's understanding it's a World Cup final, 240 to chase.
But equally,
it's fine to be none for 50 after
they're
10.
not. Yes, absolutely fine. Yeah, none 50.
And also look
ideal.
at the way that they played Mitchell Stark the other day as well. They showed great maturity in the way that they batted against him. Boult in. Oh, it's jagging back in the air to Bairstow gets his bat down on it at the last minute, jabs it behind square. There is the man there to field, hoping for the catch. Trent Boult can't believe it. He's just shaking his head as he walks away at the end of that over. England have negotiated the first over. They are 1-1.
What a great first over it was from Trent Boult as well. You have to tip your hat to him there.
A great start to the World Cup. Natalie van der Wood. Hi guys, we're a mixed bunch of South Africans, Irish and Belgians.
Oh,
wow.
hello.
Listening to you in France. Great commentary. Any idea how we can listen to the Wimbledon men's final?
No.
Stay with us, Natalie.
Don't go there.
And one after the first over, Dr. Leonie Hicks. Is it acceptable to watch the run chase from behind the sofa?
I think it's the only place to watch it.
through your fingers.
We've got a couple of sofas in the green room, so we'll all be lining up behind that, no doubt.
And with a stuffed drunk.
And as a prophecy goes, Durban Oak, fuck me, we're doomed.
Yeah, I told you. It's Matt Henry who's going to bowl from the nursery end, and he has a jingle that goes a little bit like this.
You can never trust a man with two first names. Matt Henry.
2 slips as he's in to bowl to Roy, who comes down in front of his pad. Lucky that he got full face of the bat onto that, turned it towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. Of course, remember that Matt Henry was the man who started it all off against India, took the wicket of Rohit Sharma early on.
Yeah. He's got a face, wouldn't look at a place in Coronation Street or Wallace and Gromit.
Do you think so?
Matt Henry, yeah.
There's certain elements
Nice sort of dark navy suit.
northernness about him, I suppose. He's in again, bowling to Roy. Roy's on the inside edge by that one. Had a little punch at that, left the gap, through it went, but it bounced over the top of the stumps.
Tell you what, looks like Roy's day at the moment.
Yeah. Ooh dear, he's not really very near that, was he? And that has come back up the hill, hasn't it?
Did he deliberately roll his fingers over that one?
Yeah, he did.
Bit like an off spin.
Yeah, lovely delivery. Just a little bit of movement back. He comes in again to bowl to Roy. Roy is beaten by that one, which goes the other way. This is fabulous bowling from Matt Henry. It was a little bit shorter of length, but it just kept going. And after receiving that ball before, that will have surprised him a little bit. We have a poll. I didn't know we had a poll. We have a poll which was based on who we thought would win. We had 48% thinking England win, 28% New Zealand, and 24% are expecting a super over.
24%.
This is already a super over, if you ask me. From Matt Henry, who's in again to bowl to Roy. Roy now decides to come down the wicket to negate as much of the movement and swing that he can. Plays this one comfortably enough up to mid-on, and there is no run.
Not a man who's over blessed with intelligence, I'd say, Jason Roy, but that was quite intelligent batting, I think.
Well, I don't mind whether you're you can be as stupid as you like off the pitch as long as you have cricketing intelligence. That's what I always go along with. Anyway,
but yeah, you're right. He did take a pace down, just to try to negate any of that late swing that you might be getting. And also played it comfortably in the end.
Yeah, next delivery is outside the off stump and he punches up to mid-off. There is no run. Also, I suppose further down he gets, if he does get hit on the pad, if the ball does come back, you know, he's got more leeway, hasn't he? The ball's got further to travel if there's an LBW shout. Anyway, 5 dot balls from Henry to start with.
Shipman Vaz has got this comment about the umpiring the World Cup has been pretty pathetic, but I'd say that decision was just line ball.
Yeah. It's easy to knock the umpires with the technology, but they generally do a good job.
Full, but that's too full, and it's driven by Roy. Even with the timing and force that he has, this outfield does seem to be a little bit slow, but it does run to the nursery end for 4 runs. Spoiled what had been a very good over until that point. England moved to 5 for no wickets.
Leah Ashwin takes 6 and top scores for Notts against Surrey. What a hero. Rakesh Pradhan. It was out. How the umpire gave it not out in the first place is shocking. Sportsnet more than clipping.
Hang on. It was hitting half the stump, so it's perfectly reasonable to give it not out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's some comments here from a couple of fans who just believe it was more than clipping and it should have been given. But I would say that'd be all Kiwi supporters or England haters who would be in that category. And Muttley, too much excitement. I can't cope.
Get back on your rug, Muttley.
Yeah, steady on. Sit down in front of that fire. Bairstow then to face Boult in his second over, running in from the pavilion end. Oh, he throws that one wide, and it's given us a wide. Got that to go a little bit too far outside off stump.
Wide.
England move to 6 for no wicket. If you're just joining us on Guerrilla Cricket, where the hell have you been? Where is your note from your parents? Because you missed New Zealand getting 241 for 8.
Apparently there's some other sporting events on today. I've seen some polls.
This one comes back, but Bairstow just about gets back down on it, steers it to mid-wicket. Threat of Bolt's in-swinger is a big one, it has to be said. It's certainly doing something for him in a way that it didn't really do anything for Stark when Australia bowled against England on Thursday.
Stark just went off the boil, didn't he? At precisely the wrong moment for his team.
In a way, but I just don't think it was swinging. I mean, Behrendorff wasn't really getting it to go either. This one comes back into Bairstow again, a little bit shorter of length. Probably hit him on the thigh. Runs out to the offside.
I hated facing left armers when I was an opening batsman. It sounds obvious, but it is such a different angle, a different challenge. That one has hit Johnny B right in the bollocks, by the way. And it is really, really hard. I was given not out by one of my teammates who was umpiring first ball of an innings. I was plumb, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely plumb. It's just so hard.
Bolt in again. Oh, and as he nearly dragged on there, that's what I said the threat was. That often is with Johnny Bairstow when he throws his hands at the ball. He's got away with it. He's got a single as it ran down on the 45 towards fine leg. So he has his first run, a fortuitous one. Well, he dragged it onto his back leg and then it then rolled back towards the stumps, but fortunately for him, not onto them. And Bolt will be wondering what he's done to offend the gods of cricket.
The cricket gods and with New Zealand at the moment.
Bolt in again. Bowls to fabulous ball, completely Yorks Roy, but somehow that hasn't hit the stumps. It must have hit a boot or something as it was just sliding down the leg side. But he was completely done on the length of that ball. It was an absolutely delicious Yorker that swung into him. Let's have a look at this again. Oh, well, he's actually managed to get
nothing on it.
He managed to even lift his foot over the top of the ball. He was done completely by Bolt, and this is a fabulous opening spell.
Swung
which
that too far,
deserves a wicket, yes. Bolt in again, and he's down the wicket, and he plays that really well. With a flick of the wrist, he guides that away through extra cover, and that's a good response from Roy, and it's 4 runs.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
It's not dull, is it?
Not dull at all. This is it's all happening out there at the moment. And New Zealand will feel rather sore that they haven't already picked up a wicket, but England responding well and trying to play their shots when they can.
Just that game of centimetres, a few centimetres here and there, and how different would this be right now?
Absolutely. I think that's probably, it is true of sport, isn't it? When you think of another lovely ball, but he's met that with the full face of the bat. They've run through for a single as Kane Williamson comes over from mid-off to field. And that is the end of Bolt's second over. He'll be very upset that he has figures of none for 8, and England after 3 are 12 for no wickets.
So a couple of tweets. Arthur Shire, innings break has given me the chance to mow the lawn. Back with you in time for the inevitable England collapse.
Hey!
Adam Kite, delicious irony in the Never Trust a Man with 2 first names jingle as Matt Henry balls to Jason Roy.
Yes. Oh, indeed.
Leah, people should stop abusing the umpires this World Cup. Not one Bucknell hair among them, or Random Rudy for that matter.
Random Rudy, yes.
David Evans, how can that possibly be not out? Because the umpire gave it not out, would be my play on that one.
And it was only hitting half the stump.
Derek Willis, look, I was in church, okay? Had to be to the liturgist, which I don't know what that means. So not much chance to check the cricket, but here now. I hope that liturgist meant
well,
what's that?
Welcome, my son.
Henry bowls ball that comes back into Roy, but Roy has lifted his bat way above his head, got it out of the way, and through the keeper it goes. It's a form of liturgy, isn't it?
The liturgy, yes.
The liturgy, yes. It started to go away and then hit the wicket and decided to go the other way. Well, that's great bowling. But Jason Roy is taking a step down the wicket to do all he can to negate that. Henry turns, he's in again, bowls, and it's a beauty which goes off the pitch as well as moving away in the air. He has a little bit of a fiddle for it outside off stump and is beaten by that. He nods his acknowledgement of what a good delivery that was. So we're seeing some great artistry from New Zealand here from these fast bowlers.
Great artistry from Dr. Dan Diper as well. Some beautiful images that you see of some wickets we've seen in the New Zealand innings.
Absolutely.
Get to our Twitter page for more.
Indeed, here's Henry again into Roy, and it's on his legs, and he flicks that away down to long leg. It'll only be a single because it hurried down to the back fielder there, who is Lockie Ferguson.
So he's got the tash now, hasn't he?
He's got the 70s porn tash.
He's
right. He really has. He could have just stepped out of the pages of, I don't know, whatever.
Is he just? It's been passed on from Jimmy Neesham to him.
I think it's reached its fruition in Lockie.
He's playing with bats and balls.
Yeah.
Looks a bit peach fuzzy to me. Remember that line from Beverly Hills Cop?
I don't know.
That is Tash. Peach fuzz.
Peach fuzz.
About his top lip.
Big dark dirty cloud over Lords at the moment, but no rain as far as we can tell, as Henry comes in from the nursery end. Bowls to Bairstow, finds an outside edge as he probes forward, feeling for the ball a little bit. It runs down to third man and they take the 1. He goes to 2. Roy has 11. It's 14 for no wicket.
Anna Forsyth. I've lost the tweet. I really can't cope with this. Fuck me, drink and bowl.
Think about pizza, Anna. Again, thank you very much for that generous donation.
I enjoyed the pizza.
Yeah, me too.
Most of it was cold by the time I got to the second helping, sadly. But there you go. Henry in again to Roy. Roy jabs this away from his waist towards Guptill at mid-wicket. There is no run.
What you want to do there is eat faster.
Yeah, that's true. I had one really big juicy piece to start with just before my those last 10 overs. But yeah, by the time I got out there for the second helping,
all of us all of you have spoilt us enormously.
Have
with donuts and pizzas and beer and everything. Thank you.
We can't eat it all. Down the wicket comes Roy. Smashes that over the top of mid-on. It's going to plug. It's not gone very far. It's going to plug. Sort of about 20 yards inside the boundary at Cow. But they've got back for 2. It wasn't much fun to watch, but it was effective. England have now reached 16 for no wicket after 4.
Nice work there. They just went along with it and tried to hit it out of the ground, but that is the way he plays. Muttley, surprisingly, we're only 0.89 runs below the run rate. That shot, I would say, maybe slightly ahead. Jay Grover, hello, my name is Jay. I've just made my bed. Nothing else happened in my flat during lunch. What's all the shouting about?
Jay, I don't even want to imagine what else has been going on in the lunch break in your flat or anywhere near you.
Yeah, we've got a couple of score updates from Otis Sayman, just for those who are interested in other sports apart from cricket. Djokovic took the first set, 7-6. Federer up a break in the second.
Good.
Vettel drove into the back of Verstappen. Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc with 6 laps to go. Bottas has to pit again.
Bowls, and Bairstow hits this with the swing quite nicely, crisply really, but straight to mid-wicket, and there is no run. It's a very interesting start this has been, as it was really to the New Zealand innings. I think there's been helpful conditions to the bowlers all day really. When it stopped swinging and moving off the pitch has just died a little bit, so it's been difficult to play fluent strokes. Yes. I would say
you can't trust it 100%.
No. Bolt in again to Bairstow, and Bairstow, oh wow, I thought he'd been bowled by that, but actually it just hit him high on the thigh. Again it came right back into him, defeated his shot. The ball rebounded away to first slip, and there is no run.
Rich Clark has got some perfect tactical advice. On holiday, tactically told my wife that I would look after my son so she could have a nap in the innings break. Now sitting on a sun lounger with a glass of wine while she's running ragged by him, cashing in for the next hour.
Oh, that's crafty.
Did you make sure that was during your son's sleep time?
Very.
Hope she's not listening.
Very good. Bolt in again to Bairstow. Bairstow drives. He's going to get runs here. He's pierced the field on the offside, and that is going to run away towards the grandstand for 4 runs. Trent Bolt stands there and wonders where the justice has gone.
It's a bit like Fido Dido, doesn't he? Trent Bolt with his hair. Is. You know the little character for 7-Up? The little cartoon with his hair sticking upwards. Like his face has been caught in a lift or something.
You've been working in advertising too long.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Bolt, short one. Bairstow ducks underneath it. Through the keeper it goes. There is a man at a short backward square leg, I would say, or perhaps you could argue it's a leg gully, but quite square, and that's the one that he just clips with the swing off his legs.
Johnny with his bluely branded,
Bluely branded,
bluely
branded
Gray Nichols.
Yeah,
It's nice, and his nickname is Blue, isn't it?
Bluey. Well, his dad was known as Bluey.
Yeah.
Bolt in, big full toss, driven, and that will also run away for 4. Didn't get the length right there at all. Did get some swing, but it wasn't enough, and that is another boundary. We'll move to 24 for no wicket. Roy has 13. Bairstow with that shot goes into double figures. He has 10 from 13 deliveries. 1 ball remaining in Bolt's third over.
That's how you play a full toss. The Kiwis should be watching this from a slips quarter.
Yeah, it can take you by surprise, the low full toss, can't it? But
It can.
That one was right in the zone for him just to guide effortlessly through the covers.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it disrupts your rhythm a little bit, doesn't it? And you can be late or a bit early on it. Bairstow now 506 runs in this tournament. Defends the next ball from Bolt, which is the final one of the over. He's now bowled 3 overs and has none for 16.
Parks. My innings breaks gave me some time to whiz the motor down to the car wash and pop some more washing on the line. Rock and roll Sunday.
Yeah, more of your Sunday stories here, please.
Jeff Perkins is apparently thinking about creating a jingle, which no one will know what to look for or find, but there's a bit of commentary going. We should try to find it and demand and play it. But if you know which jingle it is,
what?
Let us know. If there's some random jingle in there, which would be pretty funny, we'd be happy to play it.
Or have you just sent it? Are you just saying you've sent it to our jingles inbox?
Is it something about like nothing's happening or there's no jingle for this or something? Is that the one?
It could be one of those conundrums.
I saw that recently.
Lost levels in Mario where you can't really find out which one it is.
Henry continues, 2 slips. He bowls to Roy, who thumps this off the front foot up to mid-off. There is no run.
Leah just with I wouldn't let Lockie play with my balls. Porn stashes are a no-go.
Fair point. We're looking at the fan zone at Trafalgar Square, London. It looks like there's a good crowd turned out there, which is great to see. The deck chairs are on display. There are a lot of people standing at the back in front of the National Gallery, isn't it? National Gallery?
It is National Gallery.
And Portrait Gallery, isn't it?
Portrait Gallery, that's the one. Driven slightly airily, but finding the gap again. Lovely shot by Roy, and that runs away in front of the mound stand for 4 more. 28 for no wicket. England's batsman beginning to play a few shots. That wasn't that far away from Mitchell Santner at extra cover.
Spidery, isn't he, Santner?
He is very spidery, yes,
Yeah.
the way he moves, yes. Indeed, you could imagine that he had 8 limbs rather than the 4 that he does have.
That'd be cheating, wouldn't it?
That would be a web. Just flick a web from his
It wouldn't
hand.
just be left arm
Catch
round
that
the
ball.
wicket, it would be...
And that's why spiders don't play international cricket. They're not allowed.
No, right, exactly. Here is Henry again into Roy, who drives down the line of the ball, but the ball actually deviates away from him, and he is beaten by that one. He acknowledges that was a decent delivery, and so very sporting from him. Went quite late as well. Lovely delivery, really, from Henry. I want to keep calling him Henri for some reason. But,
Mathieu Henry.
Indeed. The French New Zealander is coming in again from the nursery end to Roy, and Roy's got an edge for that one. I think it's just been taken by Latham diving forward, and finally Matt Henry and New Zealand themselves have something to cheer about, because that was an absolute beauty. Roy is on his way. He's made 17. England are 28 for 1, and they're doomed. These really are good bowling conditions, aren't they? That's found quite a significant edge, and it's just reached Latham as he gets his gloves underneath that one.
But that previous ball that he played out, and you're playing hard out in front of your pads. That's not the way to play on this pitch either. You've got to play it under your nose. You've got to play it Kane Williamson style. And I know that's not Jason Roy's natural game, but he went hard at another one there, and he's paid the price this time.
Yeah, and again, I think it's something to do with the pace off the pitch. He's reaching for it, thinking it's going to be there a little bit earlier than it is. Anyway, he bumps gloves with with Joe Root as he comes into the long room. Joe Root disappears from the long room, and that'll be a big disappointment from Jason Roy. But of course he could have been out first ball. He got away with one a little bit.
Yeah.
And Root is on his way.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pick, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, I see.
It is Joe Root, and he was being interviewed before the start of the play today, and I'm not sure what's gone on with his hair, but it honestly looked like someone had taken the thatched roof off a cottage, dyed it bright yellow, and stuck it on his head. Very strange.
It's adding a bit of colour to the miserable day in weather outside.
Well, I suppose
That's
so.
all it is.
Colour, yeah, but it was the texture of the hair that was so disturbing.
These are the ones that you want to stand out in a World Cup picture. If you're holding a trophy, you want to be the one that stands out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, possibly.
That could be part of it.
Yeah, it could be it. Or it could just be a lot of product.
Could be. TV umpire. So Roy isn't the smartest in the lineup. Who is? I'd go for Root or Morgan. Let's see how they bat here today. And I like this one from Ravi Nair. I wonder if Bolt's dressing room nickname is the same. Oh, that deserved a laugh.
Don't get it. Henry into Root. This one moves away from him down the hill. He gets enough bat on it to jab it into the offside square, and there is no run.
Usain Bolt. So you got Bolt.
Oh.
And his dressing room name is Usain, which would make it Usain Bolt.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm with you now.
Excellent.
Just about. Good catch by Latham, picking that up off his toes, really. It's, again,
it was. I mean, it's sort of a bit of cross-seam delivery that just seamed off the pitch slightly, and the footwork wasn't as strong as it needed to be.
Bowls to Root again. Root is forward to this one and pushes it back to the bowler. Henry then striking first, as he did against India. Is that another of the many omens that we keep seeing in this game? 28 for 1 after 6. New Zealand made 241 for 8.
Well, New Zealand have definitely deserved that wicket.
Yeah.
Been a bit unlucky that first ball, really, not to get Jason Roy off with W. It was a very marginal call. Got away with it that time, but he didn't get away with one that he pushed very hard at in that over.
Now, I was curious, as Jason Roy's gone off, Aleem Dar, who presumably is the third or fourth official, I imagine, standing just the other side of the boundary and is saying something to him.
Saying something like, don't be a prick.
Exactly, yeah, check your attitude.
I didn't see anything wrong with his attitude there. Did anyone see anything wrong with that? Bolt bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow drives, lovely fluent shot, but well fielded by Williamson up there at mid-off. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was all about. Seems unnecessary.
I imagine it's more he's probably due to come out to talk to the umpires and happen to be in the boundary.
Is he just saying bad luck? I wouldn't say that to Jason Roy.
He's saying, I should have suspended you to score more than 17 runs.
It looked rather schoolmasterly the way that Aleem Dar addressed Jason Roy there.
Yeah.
So you look, just check your behaviour, rein yourself in.
Bolt bowls comes off the thigh pad of Bairstow as he's looking to turn it into the onside, but there is no run. Bolt none for 16. He's into his fourth over now. Racing in. He's got a quick run up. Everything he does is quite quick. Isn't it?
Quick arm.
The arm is quick. It's and he gets that lovely swing. He's a great bowler to watch. Really is. Here he is now, scampering in once more. Bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow lets the one pass. It swings down the leg side. That will be a wide. Good work by Latham, diving away to his left.
Wide.
So that there's nothing more than one wide. England move to 29 for 1.
A couple of his deliveries have done more than he was expecting as well. The one that sort of nutmegged Jason Roy earlier on, almost bowled him, but it did way too much. It was quite a way down the leg side by the time it passed.
He'd like that one to have started around about just outside off stump, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but it never works like that, does it?
Not often. He's in again, bowls to Bairstow. That's a lovely ball, but it's also well hit by Bairstow, who then just strolls down the pitch after dismissing that through mid-on, all the way along the ground for 4. That's a lovely on drive, which Lockie Ferguson couldn't reach. And as soon as he hit that Bairstow, that's 4. I'll just stroll on down, just have a little chat.
Terrific cricket all round. It was a really good ball, that, and Johnny's just sort of leant on it and timed the ears off it through mid-on for 4.
Tremendous stuff. England 33 for 1. They need 242 to win. Bolt in again to Bairstow. This one goes the other way, but he rides with it and jabs it into the offside, and there is no run.
Yeah, the one from Mutley, that 4 took us above the required run rate. It's coming home. Woof.
Well, I suppose we have to think about Duckworth, Lewis. I mean, there is cloud around, but we're told there's not going to be any rain.
Nah, it's fine. I think it'll be fine. It's just a case of scoring the runs.
I just hope that Mutley is not whimpering later.
Again, the ball is angled across Bairstow. A couple of decent deliveries there from Bolt, just changing the angle slightly. And 2 docked balls result.
Yeah, this one from Robbie Nye about Butler. He is everything. The beautifulest, the smartest, the talentedest.
You to me are everything. I might write those lyrics for John.
Rewrite them.
Yeah.
I was on the train, the tube the other day. This is outside the off stump, allowed to pass through by Johnny Bairstow. Ended the over 33 for 1 from 7. I was on the tube the other day, coming home quite late at night, and a bunch of ladies got on, women got on, and they started, I don't know where they'd been, but they started singing en masse, and The Real Thing was one of their favourites. You to me are everything. It wasn't a bad rendition, I have to say, from sort of 6
very good
sloshed girls. Anyway, the latest news on...
Well, they're singing it to you.
No, not directly, although I was getting worried that they might. Novak has double faulted to hand. Federer the second set 6-1.
Oh my goodness.
Set a piece.
Wow.
Set a piece.
Wow.
Thanks, Evil Scooters gave us that info as well. Matt CL, watching Wimbledon on the laptop, World Cup final on TV, listening to commentary and Guerrilla Cricket. Not a bad way to spend Sunday.
Henry into Root, who lets this one move away down the hill without recourse to playing a shot, and through to keeper, no run. 33 for 1 from 7.1. Matt Henry is the leading wicket taker in overs 1 to 10 in this World Cup. That's pretty good, isn't it? 8 he has now, so he's a real new ball bowler.
That is a great question.
It is a good question.
The next oval quiz that we do.
Henry in again, bowls to Root. Root gets in behind this, defends back to the bowler. He's yet to score. Bairstow has 14, England are 33 for 1.
We've seen a fair bit in this game where what I would call proper cricket or test match cricket is the way to go. So Wokes, when he was bowling, was bowling good lines and lengths just outside the off stump. That was the right thing to do at that particular time of the game. And here, I think we're seeing Joe Root just settling into his innings. He thinks, if I bat normally, don't have to do anything stupid, I can do something great.
Did happen against Sri Lanka though. They got into a bit of a rut. Root is forward to this one, probing around his off stump, but he defends into the extra cover area, and there is no run.
Jay Grabber, hated Fido Ditto, almost as much as I hate Grubby's Shoreditch twat belt.
Oh right, is that?
Do you have a belt on?
I do have a belt on. Yeah.
Oh, I see that.
We see this.
It's very colourful.
That is a very. I don't know.
Is that hipsterish?
I don't know.
I'm not sold on that belt.
Someone bought it for me.
Not sold on it. Someone
I'm not trying to sell it to you.
Someone managed to sell it. This is a bit of a leading edge from Root as he comes forward to this. He's going to get his first run though, as it skews away through extra cover, and England move to 34 for 1.
Do you know what troubles me most about that is that Jay Grover is watching me.
Yeah, I mean, that is very
It's covered fairly well as well, I'd say. And the fact he's been dreaming here and there as well. Maybe you'll pop in this time around.
I think this Facebook Live thing's, reached a point of no return. I think maybe we should just go back to being anonymous.
I'll be in your dreams tonight, Jay, whether you like it or not, with my belt.
Oh, God. Henry into Bairstow, who's beaten by that one. Lovely delivery that went away late in the air. He aimed a drive at it, but unfortunately for New Zealand, they couldn't quite find the edge. This is marvellous bowling. Look how late that has gone. Absolutely beautiful.
Really extravagant movement, isn't it? We've seen quite a few today where the ball's gone past the edge and you think that must be out because it's moved so much after it's gone past the bat. But it's that sort of day at Lord's. It's muggy, it's overcast, it is a swing bowler's dream. Jimmy Anderson will be in the crowd somewhere thinking, God, lads, I wish I hadn't given up.
Well, he did say this morning, I heard him on the radio saying, it's a bowl first game, but it's a bowl all day game as far as I can see. Outside of the off stump, left by Bairstow. That's the end of Henry's fourth over. He has figures of 1 for 13 after 8 overs in reply to New Zealand's 241 for 8. England are 34 for 1.
From Facebook Live, hi Vijesh, hi Ranjit, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live.
Hello, Vijesh, hello, Ranjit.
Arthur Shire, of course, Spiders play international cricket. Alan Spider Mullally remains the best left arm quick bowler in my lifetime.
Isn't he some sort of Brexit loving UKIP sort of fella these days, Hannah Malone?
I don't know, but I know he used to. I know he stayed for a week at Ian Pearce's house.
He's got a lot of L's in his name. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
He's got 4 in his surname.
A lot of L's, not so many limbs. Anyway, 34 for 1. There are people on the top of the grandstand. What are they doing up
It's
there?
like the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
It is.
What else is going on?
Maybe they think a ball's going to go up there eventually.
Exactly.
It will.
That'd be a good job to have. Just watch the cricket.
Pretty high up there, isn't it? It's a pretty good view. Yeah, I think those.
As long as you've got provisions.
Those tickets are about 230 quid. Up there.
What about the toilets, though?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Let's not think about that.
Oh no.
Bolt continuing into his 5th over bowls to Root drives, nice shot, finds the gap, didn't really overplay it. He's only going to get 1. Williamson does brilliantly to get round and prevent anything more than that, because that could have run away from him. Good fielding by the New Zealand captain. So Root moves to 2, England to 35 for 1.
Evil Scooters. What? Not going to argue with the umpires about being given out, referencing Roy, of course. Why do you think all these people came to see you play?
Yeah, exactly. We want controversy.
Yeah, as Stuart Lee is fond of saying in his sets, he said, "You've played to see me, and I am me. So if there's a problem, it's not on this side of the stage."
Yeah, good point. Bolt into Bairstow, right across him, and that one did seem to gather pace off the pitch and fly a little bit through to Latham. It was a ball that wasn't aimed at coming back, it was the one that kept going. What was that?
Bounce. I thought it was going to be Ditch saying bounce, but it wasn't. It was
sounded like Mog.
Yeah, I think that was a kind of a Napalm Death version.
Yeah, I think so. Bolt again then, in from the pavilion end, bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow's onto the back foot to this one and plays it comfortably into the offside, and there is no run. 35 for 1. Root has 2, Bairstow has 14. The man to go, Roy, caught behind off Matt Henry for 17.
So how are New Zealand going to force this? Because it is New Zealand's game to force, isn't it? England don't necessarily have to do anything special. New Zealand are the ones who have to bring something different to the game. What are they going to do?
Good question. Driven by Bairstow on the up, closing the face, but Bolt manages to stop it, stooping to his left in his follow through, and there is no run. Do we get Mitchell Santner on early? Have a little look at him.
Still say
Wasn't much
Lockie,
return,
I'd say.
was it?
So with the extra
Lockie?
bounce he brings in, it could be one that could pick up a quick breakthrough after the
Maybe Lockie one end and Santner the other.
Well, I certainly think that
Grand
if they can get through one of these and they get Morgan in, I think they need to bring Lockie on to bowl him a few bounces, because he's been a bit remiss against the short bowling. Now this is a short arm jab played well by Bairstow, away through square leg, down the hill for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think the problem for New Zealand is, while they're bowling well, when there is a slightly loose ball, England are taking toll of it, aren't they? So they're keeping the board moving and they're not giving them a chance to get on top, whereas New Zealand seemed to decide that it was a difficult pitch to score on. This one again flies a little bit as Bairstow leaves it outside the off stump. That's the end of Bolt's 5th over. He's been unsuccessful so far, none for 26. England are 39 for 1.
Good carry there as well.
Yeah, certainly is. Bit of life in that picture. Jeff Perkins, so there's a new jingle for 4-4, hence the reason no one will expect one to exist. And the YouTube link, so one maybe we can have a look at a bit later. Anna Forsyth, Jason, all your shouting and clapping in the field has come to nothing.
It came to 17.
17 runs. That's not bad. 17 runs in the World Cup final.
A bit harsh.
Marty Q, every ball that's bowled, we are 1 ball nearer to a batting collapse. I know we're a great team, but 50 years of hurt.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, we know that as well as anyone. Henry starts a new over, bowls to Root. Root tries to flick this up to mid-on, looking for the single, won't get it.
I saw our friend, our mole in the BBC setup, Dan Norcross, was on some show the other day, and he was. There were a couple of Australians on the panel saying, England are going to sort of walk this, they're going to take it in their stride, and Norcross just went, "This is the mind games. Even though you're not in the final, these are the mind games
playing against us." Onto the back foot goes Root, trying to force, but Santner comes around at extra cover fields. There's no run.
To which the Australians just went, "That's old England thinking that." You stop thinking that negative way.
The thing is, as consumers of England's cricket over the last 30-40 years, we are not part of New England. We are seeped in old England. What can we do about it? It's going to take many years of this sort of cricket for us to be weaned off. That's a lovely ball by
Beautiful.
Henry. Beats Root
Well
as he
bowled.
comes forward. So good from Matt Henry.
I've exhausted the Jaffa jingle, but there was another one.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just going back to the Roy dismissal, a couple of comments on about Alim Dar being on the field. So apparently, umpire, according to Seagrave Sub, umpire Mr. Dar was asking Roy to wait before the boundary rope while the check for the no ball. Jason Roy wasn't interested in it, and Devanshu was saying that he asked us for confirmation that the catch was clean. He was happy to wait. So it was just a few confirmations going on with the
Okay.
umpire.
All right, thanks for that. Down the leg side, tickled by Root, or maybe it just came off a bit of pad, but Latham did well away to his left there to prevent it going away for any runs. So 4 more dot balls at the beginning of the 5th over from Henry. He's bowled really well, and I'd say he deserves better figures than 1 for 13.
2 for 13? Would that
Yeah,
will
2 for
help?
13.
Next ball?
That would certainly be better.
Yeah, 2 for 91.
Yeah. Strange the way they calibrate good bowling figures, isn't it, like that?
Henry in again, bowls to Root. Root's onto the back foot. That's a testing delivery. Pushes straight back to the bowler. There is no run. Oh, we are having a change at the end of this over. That's why Andy Ward has walked into the room. Who's he brought with him? He's bringing
Who's he
with
got?
him. He's brought Tony Bishop with him. Anyone else but Tony Bishop, or is that it? Anyone else but Tony. Anyone but Tony. Final ball of the power play. Henry bowls to Root. Root comes forward, drives, comes off a thick handside edge to hit wicket, and there is no run. Off 10 overs, England chasing 241 to 242 to win are 39 for 1.
Alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Yep, it's been a long old World Cup, and if you've enjoyed it and you're not a Patreon subscriber, please think about chipping in.
Well, is it just me, or is this absolutely as tense as can be?
I think it is.
39 for 1. We have a change of bowling. It's on Bastille Day. It is Monsieur Le Grand Homme.
Oh, is that why people were talking French early on?
Oh, could be. Could be.
But I was gone. I cannot see my own reflection now. My body's gone. My face is gone.
Just a gentle away swing, and Bairstow is able to leave it through to the gloves of Latham. The voice to my right was Andy Ward, who is manning the jingles.
I am.
And to my left, long tall Steve, who is in charge of all things tweet.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And back again, in comes de Grand Homme. Uppishly, Bairstow didn't get to the pitch of that, perhaps just a little bit slower as he was looking for the drive, and well, he kind of really just let it hit the bat really, but the bat was stretched out away from the body.
Interesting move from New Zealand.
And
They want
up
to
it
take
went.
the pace right off with de Grand Homme as
Yep.
soon as the power play was over.
They did, and they're looking to frustrate these two. It's a terrific spell by Bolt. That one again is wide of Bairstow's off stump, and he quite literally turns his back on it and walks away, collecting his thoughts, conscious of destiny, but destiny has got many barriers on its way before it can be realised, I think.
A little word
Extend
from
that metaphor a bit more.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I don't think as far as it can go. In comes de Grand Homme onto the back foot. Goes Bairstow, it's away to point, and there is no run.
a little word from Josh Robinson. What a good job Roy didn't get suspended for the final. No chance of Vince getting a 20 ball 17.
And nicking off. Yeah, so there you go. You had a fairly Vince.
It was a Vince-like innings, yes.
And actually,
Yeah.
to be fair, Roy was lucky to get to his 17 because
lucky
he
to
was
get to 1. Yes.
he was hook, line, and sinkered off the very first ball of the innings, wasn't he? As this one is more onto the legs of Bairstow. He pushes it into the onside, but there's a man there, and there's no run.
Some slightly bad news. We've lost Pirate Bradshaw. He's off to listen to Ireland versus Zimbabwe T20 commentary.
hipsters.
Hopefully Sterlo will
It's only the World Cup final.
slam a few. He's been absolutely incredible form, has Paul Sterling against Zimbabwe. De Grand Homme will complete his first over.
he's
Oh,
dropped
I
it.
think that's a
Dropped
drop. It is a drop. It was batted straight back to him. De Grandhomme on his follow through. It came at him pretty quickly, but it was at the most catchable height you could imagine, and he's put him down. And it's a maiden over.
Way up in the sky, little darling. And if it falls, I'll pick it up. Just pick it up, mate.
Got to be taking those to have a good chance here. It really wasn't a difficult one by the standards of a lot of court bowls.
Indeed, and he'll be distraught with that.
But similar, it was
to get his head
not
around it and move on.
dissimilar to the one Bairstow played up to mid-off. He was just too early.
It was.
on
He's too early on the shot. They're taking the pace off the ball. They're bowling very intelligently. They're getting a little bit of help, I think, from the Lord's wicket. And I think New Zealand are in an attack well suited for this wicket and these conditions.
Bobby Boberts, I think, is right. It's going to be a late night in Melbourne.
There will be. But watching the cricket, yes. Here, as this one, Root just dabs to backward point.
I suppose.
And there's no run.
I suppose in theory every night's a late night. So.
Yeah.
Muttley, can you give a shout out to my fellow Kiwis who are both new listeners via FB, Matthew and Sean?
Well, hello Matthew
there.
and Sean. Welcome indeed. And you must be right on the edge of your seats, because your team are well and truly in this contest. 2 slips in place as in comes Matt Henry. Forward comes Root, but he's just pushed it straight to wide mid-off, and there is no run.
Now Root's often a very quick starter, but he's been very watchful here. 2 off 15.
Yeah.
Very Kane William-esque. It's in the esque, isn't it?
Well, it has been.
Out Kane.
Out Kane. Yep. Colin de Grandhomme seems to still have a smile on his face as Root stands bat aloft. Ball bang on a length from Matt Henry, and Root just drops the bat on it, and again there's no run. The tension is palpable.
Let's break the tension a bit. Anna Forsyth. We've established Latham is squashed Sam Curran, and I've now decided Matt Henry is a stretched Josh Butler.
Oh, okay. Good to know. There was a lovely article in the Sunday Times today, actually, about all the England players when they were kids and how they got into cricket. That one is pushed away into the onside, but no run. And Josh Butler, if you think he looks sort of quite angelic now. I mean, he genuinely was about the age of 12, I think, is when this picture was taken. He just looks the most adorable little lad. And there's a picture of him with, I can't remember who the picture's being taken with. Somebody pretty famous. I'd have to go back and have another look. I just can't remember right now. We're having a look at a replay of Matt Henry's opening spell today, and a number of times he beat the bat was incredible. That one is short and wide, and Root was looking to cut and he wasn't able to, and it was through to Latham. And England getting frustrated. He nearly chopped on. England are getting frustrated. They need to get their heads straight. They need to realise that
they're still winning this game at the moment.
They are still winning it.
They just need to maybe just get through another 4 or 5 overs.
Yeah.
It's only going to get easier.
Well, the weather should also work slightly in their favour. I think the sun's going to come out more and more as Henry turns at the top of his mark. Full, and it edged. Root was looking to work him away to square leg, and he ended up squirting it to point. And I really don't think he knew a whole lot about it. It's another maiden over.
2 in a row.
2 maiden overs consecutively and following each other at the same time in a row.
Good afternoon, Tim Lucas on the beach in Bahia, quite possibly the only person in Brazil listening to guerrilla cricket.
You never know. Although if there is anyone else in Brazil listening to us,
it's a big country.
Yeah, I was going to go and say hello, but it is, as you rightly say, a big country. Well, goodness knows, we're looking at a fair amount of blue sky now above Lords. England need 203 more. This one is worked off his hit by Bairstow, past umpire Damasina at square leg, and they will take 1. So 40 up for England. Bairstow 19 not out. Roy gone, of course, for 17, caught behind. Joe Root 2 not out off 19. And it is hard going for these England batsmen.
Well, people do sometimes criticise England for not being adaptable with their batting. They're trying their best.
They're trying their best right now as de Grandhomme is in. That's quite floaty outside of off stump, taking all the pace off the ball. And Root rather bottom of his bat edgily
think he wants another
Steers
one.
away. I think he's saying he wants another bat. I wonder if he really needs that, or if it's just psychological.
Interesting field, mid on, mid off. All the straight fielders are up, so he's almost daring them to go over the top.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, psychologically, this one is diving to his right, de Grandon, for a big fella, quite agile. And again, it keeps that stranglehold on. There's no run. Just the
I think we
one
might
single for
see
the over.
The batsman trying to get down the track to one of these. Go down the track and pump him over his head.
We've not said. Have we seen Lockie Ferguson yet?
No, not
we
yet,
haven't,
no.
have we?
No.
He's de Grandon's been
There
on
you
board.
go.
And you called it, Andy. Root does come down the track, pushes it away to deep mid wicket. Henry Nicholls is the man down there, and again it will just be a single.
Now, do you think a top quality wicketkeeper might be standing up here?
For balls of this speed, yes, I think you would expect that. De Grandon clearly has a definite policy to wibble and wobble it and try and maximise what he's getting out of the conditions, whilst also taking the pace off the ball. He's
You can
bowling
already see
from the
batsman's
pavilion
outside
end.
his crease.
That one again is flicked away to mid-wicket by Bairstow, but straight to the fielder. And again, there is no runners. Only 78 miles an hour from Colin de Grandon.
I mean, de Grandon's bowling everything in the 70s.
He is.
Honestly, I think a Ben Folkes would be standing up here.
Yeah. I think Joss Butler would. I think a Johnny Bairstow would. 41 for 1, England. They need to grind this and work at it as Bairstow's up onto his toes, pushed out to Trent Bolt at wide mid-on.
Jay Graver
they will
on-
take a single.
Jay Graver on Twitter. Growing up in the 80s, I still find it physically confusing to recognise England ever having won ever.
Anything.
I understand the feeling.
Yes.
I mean, in the great scheme of things, it's one World T20 in
Yes.
terms of one-day cricket. Am I right?
In
That's
cricket,
their
yeah.
only
That's it.
ICC
Well,
trophy,
of
yes.
course,
Yeah.
the women won the Women's World Cup, but hey.
Yes, and we must never forget that. 200 needed from 37 overs for England, so that is a landmark of sorts reached for sure.
And Steve Kellett is very true. Sad but true, we are conditioned, inured to England cricketing failure as a result of witnessing it for decades.
Well, I think you could take away the word England,
And
sporting
cricket.
failure, just not just cricket.
You complete it by saying we do so love a bit of gallows humour.
That's
indeed.
the problem. The problem is not being inured to it. The problem is liking it, and that's a bit too much for my.
Matt Henry's
liking.
going to continue anyway, so he's going to bowl now his 7th over. So they really see that they've got an opportunity with him to make that other breakthrough.
Are they taking
There's Matthew Hoggard. We've just seen this one is full and right on middle stump, and Bairstow's forward to push it away into the onside, but there's no run. It's a tight stranglehold. This New Zealand attack is got around England necks.
But I think they'll be looking. They're going to be selective. But I think if you get the right ball, you will see a big shot before it's too long.
Yeah, well, the current run rate is 3.19. The required run rate is 5.43 now. As Matt Henry will be right arm over and in again. Bairstow takes his hand off that drive. There's a way into the offside. A lot of applause from the field. Guptill was.
Okay, right to the bottom of that.
Yeah, it was. 42 for 1.
The T-boy, just a little message for you. Could you guys talk a little quieter? I'm trying to watch the tennis.
Oh, sorry about that.
Got a volume switch, haven't you?
Yep, indeed. Henry turns on his mark. Bowling from the nursery end. Oh, and it's left. It's quite a late leave, though, from Bairstow. It looked as though he was shaping to play it. Again, it was not the quickest. And it seemed to me as though Bairstow was thinking in terms of looking for a drive there, and then almost at the last minute helicoptered his bat over the top of it, periscoped his bat over the top of it, and it was through again to Latham. There's 3 on the leg side and 5 on the off, including the 2 slips, and this is beautifully flicked away through mid-wicket by Johnny Bairstow, and that will go to the mid-wicket boundary for 4.
And that's just good patient batting. He waited for the ball he could
Yeah, it
hit
was.
and then put it away.
It was the first time, really, for a long time, I think, that Matt Henry had strayed onto that leg side.
I mean, Henry's in the 7th over. He's going to get a little bit tired.
Well, Bairstow's is very, very strong off his legs, and
he's going to have to take him off after this, isn't he?
able to.
He'll need him for later.
Well, let's see what happens as he's in. And that inside edged, and how that didn't crash into Bairstow's stumps, I don't know. As it is, it's rocketed off down the hill in front of the pavilion, and is 4 more.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
I'll tell you what, if Johnny Bairstow wanted to put on a Sky Sports masterclass about how to miss the stumps with those, I'm signing up.
Well, again, it was, he did get a foot, got a big foot forward to it, didn't he? But how that didn't rocket back into his stumps, I don't know. The bat was a long way from the body. It was
Leia suggesting that she thinks the Bairstow drop was a tactical drop.
interesting.
Why risk Morgan coming in when the Angry Ginger has a strike rate of 54?
Well, in comes Henry, and this one is up onto his toes by Bairstow. Pushes it to mid-wicket. They can gallop a pretty quick single. It will conclude that over. So it sounds expensive in terms of fact it was for 9, but it doesn't really tell the full truth about everything that happened in that over, does it, Steve?
A little update for you. Sterling's gone for a duck off the first ball.
Oh, Sterlo. Well, he's just been mullering runs for fun off poor old Zimbabwe, so perhaps they were due a bit of
and indeed Mike Taylor has
recompense on that.
Mike Taylor has tweeted in to say, I'm listening in Rio de Janeiro.
Another,
which is
so
in
there
Brazil
we
and
go.
not the name of a footballer, so we knew that. So.
Okay. Well, good to have you with us as ever. One of our regular listeners, which is wonderful. 51 for 1, so the 50 is up for England in that over. Colin de Grandon, who has none for 3 from 2 overs, he's starting his 3rd, and this is pushed back to him by Bairstow. This time though along the ground, and Bairstow again for de Grandon, for a biggish fellow, is very quick to get down and field off his own bowling. We're looking at a rather concerned looking England balcony. You've got Rashid and Moeen Ali next to Jason Roy. Well, no, actually,
they're laughing.
They're having a bit of a laugh, so that's a good thing. De Grandon is in, pushed away to Trent Bolt, who is at mid-on, and an easy single.
Well, he
taken.
has gone back to long on. They have put one man back straight.
Well, it's not that deep though.
No, correct. He was certainly outside the circle though.
Yeah,
He's maybe coming back up for Root, who's still on 3 off 22.
So when was the last time Root only scored 3 off 22?
It'll be a long time.
Because normally every time Root's in, we normally look up and go, hang on, he's got to 50. How did he do that?
Well,
it just seems to happen almost, invisibly, as this one is driven through the covers. It evades the first field. It won't evade the fielder riding that extra cover boundary though, and
we're back. Hello. It is only me and Tone, but Messi will join us soon. And that wasn't a very exciting intro, was it, Tone? It's just a quiet. We're back as we watch Joe Root, a fantastic shot yesterday. Reverse sweep, I don't know. Reverse sweep, reverse ramp, up over the slips off Neil Wagner for 6.
I'd love to know what the conversation that transpired straight after it was.
What the fuck?
Because they were obviously laughing together.
There was
They both thought
replay
it was
there.
funny.
They're not on for another 7 minutes.
I know.
No, we know that.
I know it was yesterday. I was saying we're just watching a replay
Oh,
of.
sorry. I thought you said, what the hell are they doing when they took it off? I beg your pardon.
No. Welcome back, Messi. We're supposed to have a start in 6 minutes. Although, did I just see another spot of rain?
Oh no! I think that's from the.
I had a look at the radar. It's actually looking reasonably good from here on. Very, very light showers around the place a bit, but I think every chance of not being interrupted seriously.
Good. Well, this session is supposed to be 2.5 hours. Me and Tony were just discussing. I mean, this obviously we need 113. We've got 8 wickets left. New Zealand, you think if they can get a couple of wickets in the first half hour, it might change.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't change England's attitude, but they'll be thinking we've only got to get through a couple. I mean, Sam Billings actually probably strengthens the batting, even though Folkes isn't a bad batter. I think Billings is better, and as a COVID substitute, he can bat.
Really? Now, if were England to be in a situation of a clatter occurring, and you want somebody to just ensure that you get over the line, as per Lord's, where he's already got previous previous form of doing it, do you really think Billings is a better bet than Folkes?
Honestly, as a purely on a batting terms, I think Billings is a better batter than
better
Folkes.
Billings.
He's not a better keeper by a long shot, and Folkes is a decent bat. I mean, I think they're both capable of doing it. Quite clearly, Folkes is capable of doing it. I'm just saying, in terms of purely batting, I think Billings is probably a better batter.
Once you've got through that position,
Yeah,
you're into Broad and
well, exactly. I mean, this is what New Zealand have got to think. If they can get through, I mean, they've got to get these two out. Then they've got to get they need 4 wickets.
Yeah.
In reasonably quick time, because they've got to get through these two and they've got to get through Bairstow. In fact, they probably need 5 wickets to and that's quite with Billings coming in after that.
Well, they need 8 wickets to be fair.
Well, they do, but if they can get, they need 5 wickets reasonably quickly, because even that tail can probably chase down 15-20 runs. I mean, it'll get squeaky bum time, but if they're going to go all out attack, Broad can do it in 5 balls. You saw that in the first innings. You got a breezy 42 in no time at all. And if Brendan says back yourself, let's not wheedle this about, then it can still go very quickly, can't it? So,
I'm actually with Tony about Folkes. I think technique-wise, Folkes is a better batter. He's got a better average by about 5 runs in first-class cricket. Billings is good in certain situations, no doubt about that, where they're trying to lash out. But as someone sort of steadying the ship, which is what Tony prognosticated, I think I'd rather have Folkes than Billings any time.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see. Hopefully it won't get that far, and hopefully these two will breezily knock it off in about 15 overs.
I've
and
already
we'll all get to go
conceded by the feeling and bubbling in my water.
Yeah, I know. I'll say this. I don't trust
is
your
that
water.
from the champagne, Tony?
Your water,
my bubbly
your water is
yeah.
polluted, is what I'd say.
Yeah, well, that's true as well, of course, at the moment. So we shall see.
Right, well, I'm going to play some jingles because they're all out there. These two are batting.
We gotta poke, take a good hard look at Solly Poke. It's Solly Poke, it's Solly Poke, take a hard look at Solly Poke.
With this man.
His voice is like this, their hair like a pick, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
Actually. And this guy's going to
It's
open the
only a whimsical notion to fly with Tim Salvi tonight. I probably won't fly with Tim Salvi. Then again, I just might.
I think they've got themselves a bit ready too early. I've gone to my clock. They've still got 2 minutes, and you know what cricket's like. They're all sticklers for the rules. They won't start. Oh no, actually, having said that, they've proven me wrong. They're going to start 2 minutes early in the first ball. There's an appeal by Salvi, but I think there was a bit of bat on that into a pad, and it was probably going down leg. And
Kettler's not signalled it. It's given us runs.
It's given us runs. Although Pope's score hasn't gone up. He was on 81 overnight.
Did they not run?
They did run.
I thought they ran.
There was definitely bat involved there, wasn't there? Maybe not. It's definitely down leg side there. Thigh pad.
Still, well, if he did signal it, it was the subtlest leg by signal I've ever seen, and he has just gone up to 82.
No, it's gone up to 82. Fucking school man. It's slow.
Sky have got the trainee
dude in again.
Caption error, sorting things out.
Dan De Castro is going to be happy. He couldn't sleep all night in Toronto waiting for Wimbledon to start, and then it started pissing down with rain.
Well,
so at least now he's got some cricket.
Yeah, something. A little bit of late end-up maybe there from Southey. Second ball to Root. See, he covers it up nicely and drives it up to mid-on. There's no run. I mean, if England don't lose a wicket in the first half hour, as I said to you, I think this is done reasonably quickly.
Yeah.
It's rather sad. I've got to miss the first day of the India test because I'm at Wimbledon.
You're at what?
I'm at Wimbledon.
Oh.
in the royal box, are we, Tony?
Yeah.
Actually, I am. But yes.
You're a fucking dirty motherfucker sellout. You are. As that one is down leg side, and Root clips it 2 long legs sweetly, gets himself off the mark.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that bit, but you asked.
Oh dear.
You're
God.
just hobnobbing it with the Royals these days.
Oh dear, we'll be scum for you, mate. You don't want to be seen
We'll
with
be the lower
us.
classes. Next thing you know, Vivian will be in the House of Lords.
Although we do have the recordings, that's the good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I can
we'll be
assure
blackmailing you.
if I ever get above my station, I rely on you to slap me down.
Oh,
in
don't
no,
worry, we
no
will.
uncertain.
That won't be a problem, Tane. Trust me. England
forward to the
185 for
slapping.
2. And Pope is 82 of 106. Root is 56 off 82. So they're all scoring at a reasonably good clip. As Southey is in, and that's driven by Pope. Up to mid on, there's no run. And this is a good attack Pope's got runs against. This will do his confidence no harm at all this series. Well, he's had a couple of low scores, but when he's got it in, he's generally, got the runs, and you can always get out early. That's the fate of a batsman. But if he gets in, he scored 100. What did he get? 140 odd or something?
Yeah, I've got an interesting hypothetical question for
Ooh.
both of you, but maybe before we go to the tweets and after this next ball.
Okay. Southey in. Fifth ball.
Oh!
He's bowled him. That is an absolute cracker of a delivery, and that's what can happen.
Whoa.
That moved in sharply off the seam. Pope's only faced, 5 balls in the morning. You've got to get yourself in again, and he hasn't managed it. That was an absolute cracking delivery, has to be said. Nipped back off the seam, beat the inside edge of the bat, has knocked the off stump out of the ground, and he's got to go. Bit of wobble seam, and that wicket in the first half hour.
Hitting it back as well. I'm still got that feeling there might be more. Actually, it's a good time to ask my question then, because my question was going to be for a number 3. What is better? Is it a big score and then a series of low scores followed by another big score? So let's say you get a big score every 4 innings, or is it better to keep getting 50s and 60s, but not necessarily the big score?
Well, no,
I'd say that depends.
I was going to say. I mean, I think
if you've got a solid opening partnership, then yes.
Yeah, it depends when you come in, but very often, especially with England, you're in a position of having to sort of steady a ship rather than build on a platform, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think for any batsman, you kind of go. If you get to 10, you think, okay, I'm starting to get there. You get to 20, you're in, and then you want to go on and get a score. I think you have to be quite philosophical if you get under 20. But you don't want too many 20s either, and then the odd big score.
Well, now this is going to be.
Well, this is going to be.
Here.
He's 2 tons in a row. He's bound to get a duck today, and it's all going to go tits up.
I am the big shot. You heard me right the first time. Name of Bachelor Johnny Cool. Occupation Big Shot.
Pokey would take the reliable 60, he says on there. But if you knew you were going to go out every game and get 60, there'd be no point in living.
Well, yes.
Because it'd just be boring. I'm going to get 60 today, and then I'm going to get out. Never get any more, never get any less. Saudi in, first ball. Bairstow prods at it, and prods it out to a very short cover. And that ends the first. That's first over the day, wasn't it?
That was a tentative first
it was.
shot.
Well, well, again, he is definitely someone. If he's going to play the way he's going to play, he's going to have to accept that on days he's going to get castled.
That was a good ball that got poked.
Oh yeah,
it was all of a bit. His feet weren't really moving that much.
Well, no.
It doesn't really come forward. Big old gap between bat and pad. It was all. He's not quite into the swing of the day, is he?
Well, he's the fifth ball he faced in the morning, or maybe 4th even. There's only it was the 5th ball of the over.
Still having lunch.
Well, exactly, and that's when you're vulnerable. You've got to get yourself in.
Perko says, "Slap that Bish down. He belongs to a genre I don't usually dabble in."
Yeah.
I think we should explain that Tony Bishop's wonderful partner was awarded the OBE this last weekend, and Tony was forced to accompany her to the
in handcuffs.
I was, and now Prince William is convinced I'm a Aston Villa fan, which is really worrying. But there we go.
That's it for Twitter at the moment. I'm still waking up there.
Ah, well, yeah. Oh, I didn't even tweet that we're going live, actually. Do you want to tweet that out?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I've done that.
Southey. Sorry, that's not Southey. Obviously, Bolt is coming from the other end. And his first ball is running around the wicket to Joe Root, who just lets it through to the keeper. And there is no run. And he has a jingle. Goes like this. It's great.
How does he speak, or play the horn, or clean his teeth, or even yawn? How does he shout? How does he call? Trent Bolt's mouth is really small.
But he's really good. Top wicket taker of the series.
He's round the wicket. He's got to come round big old Moraes as well.
Erasmus. But that's short and that's wide and that gets the treatment. Root's not hanging
rubbish.
about. That was absolute pants ball from Bolt. I don't know why he's doing this. First up, I wouldn't be doing it, but it's short, it's wide, gets what it deserves from Root. There's a square cut out to the boundary for 4 runs.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
Surely you'd see if there's any swing. Bowl your normal first cut of balls over the wicket, see if you can get it to come back in. Root gets on the back foot, high on his toes, and he forces, that's a beautiful shot, off the back foot, out towards the point boundary. The outfield is still reasonably quick, and that repeats the dose, another 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And Root moves on to 64. See, Root, he never gives it away, man. He is class.
I do wonder.
That's not well bowled, though, is it?
No.
I mean,
I don't know why he's doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wouldn't. You might as well. You know, he's most effective when he gets it to swing back in a bit, nip back off the seam, or
Well,
the ones that go across from over the wicket. You might
as
as well
yet,
try that first
hasn't,
up.
he hasn't got that swing yet.
Well, the third ball, he's decided to come over the wicket and bowls a pretty shite ball down the leg side. Bolt's checked out, and that's worked easily off the hip of Root down to long leg for a single.
I don't think he's checked out.
Oh, I know.
I think he's
I was joking.
looking at options.
Trying to build the drama tone.
Yeah, well, I still think there could be some. We've already lost a wicket. It's Ollie Pope. He's clearly mentally just not quite ready. It wasn't the ball you want third or fourth up,
No, it
was
isn't. And that's the thing. If you bowl well at the top of the
Yeah.
day, that and after lunch are probably, and then after tea, if you've got set batsmen, and those two were set from last night, it's your best chance of creating something, catching them cold. Johnny B clips that sweetly out through mid-wicket. He's clearly at the top of his game and made that look very easy. And it's another 4. And England's target moves under 100.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, that was just all timing. There was no effort at all. He just angled the bat, got himself nicely into position, and it's a classic case of the ball doing all the work. It was a beautiful shot.
Got all those practice wickets out there as well. It's quick and hard out there. Runs away. Free entry to Headingley today.
I think that's a good thing. That's what they did at Trent Bridge, wasn't it? And interesting enough, at Trent Bridge, of course, it filled the ground. Not so
I
today.
think people were probably less sure about the weather. They're Yorkshire people, after all.
well, it wasn't pissing down with rain, and there was no rail strike.
That's cut nicely again by Bairstow. He's head off. He's 8 off 3 as he cuts that one down behind square on the offside for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So after an over that went for 2 with a wicket, the next over went for 17.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's sort of a switch of roles, isn't it? Bolt's been the real danger man. Southey's been a little bit off colour, and yet Southey found the one absolute pearler of a delivery that did the job for Ollie Pope, and Bolt's been a bit wayward.
I mean, if New Zealand lose this, they're going to feel pretty unlucky. in the series in general.
Yeah.
I think they've played some pretty fantastic cricket. At
Oh,
times.
they have. They bowled beautifully. They have been heavily reliant on one partnership consistently.
Yeah, but I
which
mean,
is
if you
kind of
looked at this
interesting.
England side over the last 3 years, you'd have said 280, 250, 280, 300 in the last innings. Oh, that's an absolute peach of a delivery. Southey's on it. Next over, completely squares up Root, beats the outside edge, and goes through to the keeper for no run. I thought they'd even taken an edge in my initial thought, but no one appealed. He's doing a lot of wobble seam, and it's catching the seam.
Mog asked the question, so the Englanders playing to beat their own. I suspect they are, actually.
Yeah, I think they want to get it done as soon as possible if they're going to do it. Here comes Southey into Root, who has decided to counteract the movement off the seam by taking a couple of steps down the track and just bashing it out to mid-on. There's no run.
I'm not sure it's the rain, you know. I just think it's the mentality at the moment of England. Bazball.
Yeah, Bazball.
Is get on with stuff and be positive. And I think the rain is incidental. I think they're just acting out that brief.
Arian's writing again.
Yeah.
Southey is in, and that's another one that's beaten the bat. And Root smiles and nods appreciatively at the bowling, thankful that he's not out.
Because of course an all Yorkshire combo now.
Yeah, it is. They probably batted together quite a lot, haven't they, these two, at home. Root could still get a tie, of course.
Well, it could, yeah. Neil Harris says, congratulations, Tony, on snogging someone good enough to get an OBE. The Bear should get one soon.
What? I think
it'll
be a cold day in hell before that happens. Not the OBE, me snogging him.
And not Vivian, no. If my wife gets an OBE, I'll tell her to turn it down. That's cut.
Turn it down.
To Gully, and there's no one. I'm sure she'd say fuck off, and we're going to the palace, but...
It was a good day out, I've got to say. It was highly entertaining. As an observer.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
Well, just a dry run for you, Tony. You know.
What for services to alternative cricket commentary?
Dad jokes and puns. Yes.
Dad jokes, puns, constantly changing rotors.
Oh yes,
today's been a bit of a nightmare. Southey in, and again Root this time decides to go down the wicket. I think Southey probably saw him cut chattering a bit, bangs it in shorter. Root still gets on top of it, plays it square on the offside, and there's no run.
Of course, Jersey Oak says the collapse is on.
Of course he does. We're doomed, aren't we, Jersey? Now, normally, if this was any time pre-Baz, we'd say, yeah, we are doomed. We would have been doomed for probably about 96 all out.
One more wicket, I will. They've already got the early one. That's got their tails up. Southey is bowling really well.
Southey is bowling really well. I think he's bowling into the wind this time. It keeps a little low, but Root again has decided that coming down the track is a better part of valour, and plays that into the ground to the gully once more. There's only a slip and a gully. There's no one really around there, and that was a maiden, I believe, with two absolute corkers that beat Root's bat. Over to you, Messi.
Mog says, and with this presumed 3-0 result against the Test World Champions, does this mean the Stokes McCallum duoky is the greatest of all time?
Currently, yeah, it's 100%, isn't it? But I mean, it's longevity that counts.
Yeah, you can only beat what's in front of you.
I do honestly think I've got a sneaking suspicion. I mean, India will be harder, but I also got a sneaking suspicion they'll be undercooked. They played that one game against Leicester. They've only just come out of a ODI series at home against South Africa. They've had the back of the IPL. That one's into the pads again. Burst. He can't bowl there to Johnny B, and he knocks it out to around about Cow Corner. Conway's out there, has to get round, and it'll be 2 runs. I think they'll probably be more competitive in the ODIs and the T20s. I've got a sneaking suspicion.
Am I seeing right? There's no slips. Are they already looking to man the boundary and try and frustrate him?
Well, that's a good thing. If Bairstow's come out and that is the case, that shows negative thinking on New Zealand's part.
Oh no,
there's a slip and a gully, but that one's been crashed through the covers. There's no one out yet. Johnny B just looks in the form of his life at the moment. Nothing troubles him, and it's made its way to the cover boundary for four more. and England already on to 208 for 3. There is no GPL today, peeps, but on Friday you'll have a chance to win 180 quid, because that's what it's up to now.
Well, we worked out that 121 or anything below that, you couldn't obviously go above 121, could you?
No, yeah,
based on our
they were
maths.
basically about what you can get a one.
Yeah,
you can get a one. Well, if you get a 2, it doesn't count, or a 3, does it? Because the 1 is already
Actually,
there.
122, because what if you scored a 6 off a no ball when the scores were tied? So in theory, it could have been 122.
Yeah, that would be a stretch, though.
Well,
you could cover the field and still win.
Yeah,
as long as nobody else
exactly. You
did.
only need a 5 to cover the field, and you'd all cover the field, and then we just be giving the money away, which doesn't work for me. So that's worked into the leg side to mid wicket, and there's no run. I'm not giving money away. At least you can,
earn it.
Earn it, exactly.
Mog says the fucking tension, and Pokey says, especially he'd want a steady out number 3 in the Braveheart cricket era. Mind you, Braveheart, the least accurate historical movie of all time. Oh, there's plenty of competition for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bolt has gone back around a wicket to Bairstow, who's 14 off 6. He gets that square on the offside, and there's no run.
wasn't it El Cid when Charlton Heston was filmed wearing a wristwatch?
I thought that was Ben. I thought that was Ben Hur.
Ben Hur.
Oh, was it Ben Hur? Was it Ben
Yeah.
Hur? Was it? Yeah. That was the old famous Roman wristwatches.
Continuity probably got a bollocking that day.
Yeah.
And there was
Not that I think Ben Hur claimed to be actual historical fact.
Yeah. Around a wicket, Bolt. Yeah, but I'm sure. Oh wow! Now that's gone sharply off the seam and straightened up. Bairstow's gone to work it into the leg side. He's so far in front of it, it's nowhere near his outside edge. Maybe it was just an off cutter. No, it was another scrambled seam.
It was a leg cutter, but it was an
When it
absolutely
turned into a leg cutter.
gorgeous ball. Gorgeous ball.
Yeah, just
Johnny B, to his credit, tucked himself right inside of it and didn't
much.
fish, did he?
No, it did too much though, didn't it? He was planned for that to clip it into the leg side. That is 2 full and 2 leg side. There will be a deep square leg. Devon Conway out and deep, clipped nicely out to him. It'll be a single, and that's the end of the 43rd over. Over to you, Messi.
Steve Kellett says, in the spirit of getting on with things, England have gotten the comedy run out of the way early.
Yeah.
Odds are on for a collapse for the ages. Old habits die hard, don't they, Steve?
Well, listen,
Brown
go for it.
Brown in Brisbane says 94 runs should be too easy in 25 overs. I think that's probably right. And Mog says probably should take the caps off now.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't think this would take too long.
No.
And if it had been the last 2 years, a collapse for 87 is more than on for England. But in Bazball, it's not going to happen, is it? Weird, isn't it? How quickly confident we are that they're going to get it. Big attempted pull by Bairstow off a length ball from Southey, clatters him on his back thigh, nearly his hip.
Again, it was an indication of
intent.
Bairstow's frame of mind. He
Yeah.
was looking to hoik that high over mid wicket, wasn't he?
And this is the thing with Bairstow, if he gets away with it for 20 balls, he's in, really. And then you're in trouble. He's got to kind of give it away by getting too enthusiastic. And the thing is about this style of play, and this is what I will say that is beneficial to it. This is my thoughts on it anyway. Southey is in. Johnny B hits that nicely, but straight to cover. There's a very solid offside field. There's a sort of backward point, a deeper cover, short cover, and a wide mid-off. Even on good wickets, if you can play like this, you will put bowlers off their lengths. And if you can put bowlers off their lengths on good wickets, you stand more of a chance of staying there and actually scoring
Oh
runs.
yeah, no doubt.
There is method to the madness, I'd say. It's just weird seeing it play out in a test match 3 games in a row and not failing yet, because it will do one day and it'll be spectacular. My word. Johnny B, I'm not sure he's got all of that. He's got underneath it, but he's got it over. I think he's got enough actually. Is that 6? It was, wasn't it? I thought it had gone straight up, but mid-on was up anyway, so he wasn't going to catch it. He got enough of it to go over mid-on, but actually he got enough of it to go over the boundary.
It was a lovely picture there because it was Ben Stokes who was big smile, punch of the air, really smiling. and next to him, Brigadier Block, Paul Collingwood, was looking really quite grouchy and like he's thinking,
This isn't
"Oh,
Test
I'm
cricket."
not too sure about that.
Yeah. Well, Sally's in, and he's on the pads. There's a big appeal for LBW. It's not a bad shout, actually. He's gone right
Sliding.
across.
It looked like it was sliding down to me.
Well, he'd gone a long way across. You could see his leg stump. I'd be tempted to review that.
They've only
I
got one
think-
left, of course.
Yeah, they have only got one left, but they also haven't got long to go.
Yeah.
And if Bairstow gets in, I think that was worth reviewing, actually.
One left. That just might still be a little bit early in the piece, as it were, to be burning that
look
just
where
the
he
one.
is when this hits. He's right across his stumps. Oh no, it's going down. Sorry, I thought it hit the front pad on the outside of the front pad, but it's actually hit the outside of the.
You know me, Bear.
front
I
pad.
rarely get my LBWs wrong.
Yeah, right. That's worked nicely by Root into the leg side, just past mid wicket. I'll get it for a single.
The Bear will never forgive you for giving him out LBW. You know that.
Well, no, he took his revenge on my Sunday, which I thought was really harsh.
And it wasn't revenge; it was a shit.
It's like the whole family was guilty of giving him out. They weren't.
It was a sin.
We were going to do something really bad. You should have done it to me,
I
not
didn't
to
mean to drop
not
that
to poor
catch,
old
funnily
Louis.
enough. It was just really, really crap. But of course, I caught a blinder off my own bowling.
Yeah, funny that.
Saudi in, and Johnny B just drops that square on the offside. Thinks about a run, but it's not there. And that ends the 44th. Over to you, Messi.
Only 81 miles an hour that from Saudis, not express.
Jeff Perkins said, "Did they just refer to you as mug in relation to Mog?" We did not.
No,
we
we
would
didn't.
never disrespect our jingles like that, Jeff. You should know that. Never any disrespect for our jingles. Simply slavery. Pikey Barnfeld says, "Is Collingwood still on the coaching staff? I thought he was done."
No, he's very
No, he
much
remained on.
still there. Yeah. And I no bad thing either. I don't think.
Collies.
Put the man in a different environment.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
I think it was no bad thing.
Dan DeCastro is wondering why Bolt is so awful.
Well, I don't know because he's coming around the wicket, and I just think that's a really bad ploy.
Route 66. I've just realised.
Yeah, Root was on 66. Now he's
No,
on
he's not
67.
anymore.
You're a ball too late.
I am. Well, I wasn't.
Well, you weren't.
I was one ball. Yes.
He clipped that sweetly square.
Just saw it in time.
2 into the pads, and it'll be a single to Root, who's on 67. Of course, if Bairstow gets going, Root might not get his ton.
Well, he's still on 66 on Akira, and there you go.
Yeah.
78 now the total that is needed, of course.
As Saudi is in, it's pulled hard. Bolt down to Wagner at long leg. And, it'll just be the single.
I wouldn't mind seeing the replay of that. To me, Johnny Bairstow looked really deep in his crease.
I think he was.
And for a moment, he seemed to sort of wobble backwards as well.
Might well have done. But he's close to having his eye in now, isn't he? Which could be trouble for the Kiwis. Because Root will just play his natural game. Around the wicket continues Bolt. It's full, and that's nicely clipped by Root again. He can't beat the field. Bit of a misfield by Bracewell though, down at wide mid on. They won't get back for the second though. Score moves on to 220. That's been pretty quick pace, isn't it? I mean, they've scored 220 in 44 overs. So pretty much 5 and over. In fact, just a shade under.
Exactly.
And that's after coming out and starting again, because we've been virtually out for half an hour now. It's quite mad.
They've been scoring at 7.3 and over for the last 10 overs.
I like this brand of cricket. It's too far down the leg side. Bolt's been put. I don't know what Bolt is doing this morning. He's coming around the wicket. He's shoved that down the leg side. Bairstow just helps it around down to a very fine leg, and he'll get himself 4 more. And England are strolling on.
It's brainless.
It is a bit. In fact, it was leg buys, I think. I think it came off the thigh pad. I don't think there was any bat on it. It didn't go on to
Bairstow. His glove to.
I know. I think it's 4 leg buys. It didn't go and Bairstow score. So a bolt in again. That one is clipped nicely by Bairstow out to deep square leg. It'll be a single. It's like on the ODI, and that's how he's playing it. Jack Leach, 5 for 100 and 5 for 66. 10 for 166 is an average of 16.6. There we go.
Yeah.
The English Nathan Lyon is born.
Well, except one's a left armour and the other one's
That's
not,
a
but
point.
I'm with you.
An average spinner who can be turned into a test match bowler.
Yeah, don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah, all right, shut up. Driven by Root out to cover and there's no run. If I keep banging on long enough and give him long enough, it'll happen.
Maybe. Pornbot says, a jingle for the spanner men and women? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
They could put their mouths around my rusty nuts. I might have been hosted by my own petard and been banned by the spanners. On the plus side, I can now see KP tweets. Or you can bot him as much as you like. And Mog says, I think they fucking did call me Mog, you know. I never liked them.
The crowd are clapping for some reason. I don't know why. England only needs 71 more to win now. Bairstow is facing up to Saudi, who's coming in. He's bowled well. Oh, wow. He's clipped that sweetly as Bairstow picked it off the stumps. That's a good sign. A bad sign for New Zealand, I would say. Gets it down a long leg for a single.
Joe Root's average is back up over 50 again.
You're going to battle with that for the rest of his career.
50.08.
It's a problem when you've had so many matches and so many innings. One bad innings, a couple of bad innings can quite. Well, it's always going to be sort of 0.4, 0.5, isn't it? Until you get a run of big scores again, and you might be able to drag it up by one run. Southey is in. Root just drops it into the leg side. They're going to go for a quick single. Bairstow was alive to that. Square leg came in. It would probably taken too long to turn and hurl at the bowler's end. But Bairstow was so quick that he was easily in. They get themselves a single. Big intent here from England. 24 off 18 for Bairstow. Root 69 off 97. And England 227 for 3, requiring 69 more to win, of which Root would need 31, and you can't really see Bairstow allowing that if he stays there. I'm sure Root won't mind. A bit rigging, in the 80s or 90s are probably doing fine. Saudi in, and Bairstow just drops that into the leg side, wide enough for mid-on that they can get through for another easy single. And, no, it doesn't end the over, there's still 3 balls left.
If England do this, first time since 2013 that they will have
Clean
swept a series, and I think that was only a 2-series test.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be phenomenal. It's a phenomenal turnaround for England to not only win 3 test matches, which is, considering we've won bugger all in the last 2 years, that's really sweetly timed by Root. Comes across the stumps, picks it off middle stump. They might check that. That's Wagner's. Was it Wagner or was Bolt down there?
Bolt.
Did his foot drag along the sponge? Root gets back for 2. Not only is it phenomenal that they've won 3 tests.
They haven't yet.
Well, they haven't. Is that 4?
No, I think he just about flicks it before he hits.
He just about got rid of it.
Yeah, he's not touching the sponge. Yeah, he did all right.
Good fielding. Should only be 2.
Paul Marshall points out if New Zealand can take 2 more wickets, England will have won each test by 5 wickets. Would surely be unique.
That's thrown wide by Southey, and Root refuses to play it, and there's no run. It's just phenomenal. They've done it by chasing down scores in over 250 in all 3 tests. You know, it's just like phenomenal.
And that 2013 clean sweep was also against New Zealand.
Oh, Kiwis. What happened in the last series against the Kiwis? I can't remember.
Well, we lost the test last year. There was 2 tests last year. We lost 1-0, didn't we? Because we didn't.
Oh, sorry, no, but the series before that was sort of good tests.
Oh well, Root's gone for the reverse. He's not got hold of it, but they've probably got through for a single. No, they didn't bother. Root was trying to repeat the dose of a reverse ramp over the slips, but he got toe end out to cover. Sorry, battle point, no run. The last Test series before that, we were probably in New Zealand. Did we lose that?
Oh no, I was thinking in England because there was a series which I missed, but sounded like it was a phenomenal series, and everybody was going on about how wonderful the New Zealanders were, but I can't remember who won it.
I think we won it because they've hardly won over here. I think we won it, and I think we won it 2-0. And I remember, oh no, that was in Sofa days because I remember Dan was on that, so that was ages ago. So that can't be right. But there was a series they played when Ross Taylor was playing, and I think there was a game at Headingley, and it was basically going to rain, and England managed to get all the wickets really quickly in the morning. Well, we're going to have a change of bowling. Are they giving up? I don't know. Or they're going to try and get, oh man, Bairstow to give it away. This guy's bowling.
Certainly keeps wicket, knowing how the Kiwis pick teams, he'll be just 1 of 5.
We're going to have a change at the end of this over. We should have a change now, but I'm going to do one more.
Okay. You do that. Somebody needs to be let in, I can see.
Cameron. Oh yeah, Cameron. And that'll be interesting to see. Will Johnny B just charge down the track and try and plonk him over his head first ball?
New Zealand won the last 3, Bear.
Well, first one is swept hard, and there's no one down at fine leg, so is he going to get 4? 6-4. Well, that shows intent from Bairstow.
There's not one more for me. I must have 2 or 3. I need 4.
He has 29 off 20. His foot was right across, swept. He got a bit of a top edgy shot, but he probably knew from checking the field out that fine leg was up. If he could get it over him, it would be a clean,
gorgeous shot.
Score.
That clean sweep in 2013 was the last series that England have won against New Zealand.
That's swept again and poorly by Bairstow. He didn't know where it had gone. It's gone into the fence. No, it's gone. It's been hauled in. I don't know if he got anything on it, or was it leg byes, or was it a top edge? Looks like it's top edge. Runs have gone to Bairstow. Top edged it over the keeper. Very fine. Poor shot. Well dragged in by whoever was chasing it back. Just. Yeah, he definitely got that back before crashing into the sponges. So it will be 3, which will bring Root on strike. This partnership is already 52
it must have been
runs
2013, the series I was thinking of. God, time flies.
Yeah.
It's drawn 1-1.
Yeah, because England have not beaten New Zealand in a series since then.
Okay.
1 draw and the rest have all gone to New Zealand.
Yeah, we never win over there either. That's swept. There's a big appeal for LBW, but it's well outside the line of off stump. I won't bother reviewing that.
It was over there, the 3-0 win, wasn't it? It was in New Zealand in 2012 or 13.
Oh right, okay.
2012-13 in New Zealand. It was a 3-game series, but it was drawn 0-0, so they were all draws.
Oh,
yeah, that was when so that's defended the offside and there's no run. That's when Colley and Pryor managed to basically bat out a whole afternoon, and then it got a bit hairy towards the end.
Oh yeah, 2015. I mean, was the drawn series 1-1.
Bracewell in. Root just flicks that down towards fine leg. I can't see who that is down there. Is that a sub? Because it doesn't look familiar with sunglasses on. But it's only a single. Deep back to square leg. And last ball of the over. Before I don't know what's going on. And that is played just around the corner once more, this time by Bairstow. They'll get a single down the man on a 45. That's end of the over, and there is no run. What's the change, Messi?
So Tony's going to socials, and Neil Harris is the next one on those. Tony,
who are they on with? Is it Forthy and Cameron?
Correct. Yes.
Cameron says his camera is playing up, but he is.
Alright, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, ready and raring, just out of view.
Okay. Well, you stay there, ready and raring, and
absolutely.
when we get in, Tony's going to come in for me. So you two keep talking, and I will.
Thanks, thanks, Bear. Thanks, guys. I'm going to follow it off the guerrilla feed here because I'm about a ball and a half behind from down in Melbourne. So it's a little jerky, but I'll do my best. In comes Tim Sadden, right arm over. My goodness me, what's happened there? Well, Bairstow, I thought for 1 second had played on. He has not. But it was a false shot. He jabbed down on it. It wandered off the ball, sauntered off to the slips. Couldn't quite see what happened. But a moment of alarm for England. They still need 57 more to win. How are you, Cameron?
Doing very well, thanks, Dorothy. How are you?
Very good. Have we been on together before?
We have not. This is I'm still in the very early stages of my guerrilla cricket career, as it were.
You're the Matthew Potts of the outfit. In comes Tim Southey, and with a magnificent relish. Johnny Bairstow hits it wide of the man at mid-on, and it is hauled back, I think, probably legitimately. They'll probably come back for 3. Yes, I think they have. So Bairstow moves to 36 and the score for 2-4-2.
That
Hello, Tony.
have you been here before sounded uncomfortably like the do you come here often? I've not seen you here before.
Or Livingston Stanley on the Zambezi, wherever it was. Must have been a funny moment in history. Well, not that funny, maybe, but memorable. Southey in again. He's been bowling well. Bolt hasn't. And I say that, and there's a half volley which Root clips beautifully off his legs to the square leg boundary for 4 of these. Rather nice, that shot, wasn't it, Cameron?
It was wonderful. It's all been just incredibly easy for England this morning, or this afternoon even. I'm a bit bemused by how this new kind of era of cricket, they've just asked their best players to be even better. It seems to have worked pretty well.
Well, that's a forward defensive played out to point. No run, and unlike yesterday, there is a point. We got into existential territory yesterday, and I was able to constantly say, "Oh, there is no point." But I can't amuse myself with that comment now. Yes, I know what you mean. This must be like what it would be to be following the Australians in the 90s. You score 300, no problem.
It's just we're on. Well, England are on track to win all 3 matches here, having been on track to also lose all 3 matches. These are matches we kind of would lose forever and always in all of history, and now we've decided to win them.
Yes, history, those stats they put up when they say record run chases are becoming a bit meaningless. That one's knocked down to long leg by Root, comes through for a single. Score moves on to 247, and England are under 50 runs to win now. Yes, strange times indeed. It's a great shame in many ways that the epic story of our times hasn't been England against New Zealand rather than England against Australia. It's a total waste of time, half the time, i.e. down under. Because imagine a 5-test series of these. We'd be drooling if it was, the Ashes.
But this is the thing. This is the classic issue that we keep levelling at England cricket. I'll hold that thought for a second.
Southey in again. A little shorter, so onto the back foot goes Johnny. Flicks it wide of the man on second slip for 4 more of these.
Just to finish that.
Go, Tony.
Very quick thought was, we spend our time worrying so much about Australia that we almost seem to devalue so many wonderful series against other teams, and this has been just corking entertainment all the way through. Stop me if you've heard any of these before, but I'm going to start with Peter Lloyd. New Zealand won last series 1-0, drew 2015 1-all, lost 2-0 in 2013, all 2 test series. Nuna says, sorry to bring this up, but this current mentality with Stokes BMAC is perfect for a certain wicketkeeper who can't spell Josh or Butler. True enough. Warren says, if England win, Leachy for man of the match, just to rub it in for Gary Naylor, 999. Fair enough.
Racewell, maybe the last hope for New Zealand. Not with balls like that. Swept down to deep square leg by Root without any difficulty at all. He moves on to 78. Scores 252, 40 more more to win.
And you're
Root
also
looks
back in
totally
our time zone.
authoritative.
Well done.
Root looking totally authoritative here, isn't he, Cameron?
Oh, he's looking kind of at his best, as he has done for most of the past 18 months. And just on that point about Joss Butler, there was Kumar Sangakkara on commentary yesterday suggested he should come in and open the batting, which seems really going kind of beyond the pale, but it could be fun.
Bracewell in again. The reverse sweep from Bairstow, which somehow gets... Can a reverse sweep get a leading edge? It ends up being a sweep, and that's what happened there. And they came through for a single. It was almost like the law of physics had been reversed. And Bairstow moves on to 4.
Given us a leg by.
Leg by, right, that partly explains it. Another beautiful looking sweep from Root, wide of the off stump down to deep square leg. They're getting this, as Cameron says, effortlessly at the moment. He moves to 79.
Just to continue on I've noticed with the Sky commentary, you can always tell when a commentator really thinks nothing of the idea.
They're just silent, aren't they? Smashed into the confectionery stall and probably back out again by Bairstow. Magnificent stuff, this. C'est magnifique, mais ce n'est... Is the jingle over?
Yeah, it's done. Sorry. It was Iron Maiden for you, actually. 666, the number of the beast.
Oh yes, not quite so keen on Iron Maiden. That was a magnificent 6 from Johnny Bairstow. This is going to be over before we finished our commentaries, think Cameron, at this rate.
I thought we'd come on and cursed it when Bairstow almost played on first ball, but now they could be won this game within the next 3-4 overs, really.
Insane, isn't it? I do think the Joss Butler idea floated by Kumar Sangakkara is insane. Didn't we try that with Jason Roy and look what happened?
It's completely batshit, but it was fantastic hearing him float this idea, and there's such a legend of the game. And we've just had the clips of him batting at the lunch interval and realising he's still probably one of the best players in the world. And he said we should get Joss Butler to open the batting for England. And Mike Atherton just left about 5 seconds of dead air and then just decided to speak about something else.
I think it must have been like when Boris Johnson said, I tell you what we should do. We should send all of those immigrants down to Rwanda. And nobody dared say, what the fucking hell are you talking about? And the next thing you know, they're sending all the immigrants down to Rwanda.
Interesting pause for a delay, look.
Sorry, Tony?
Well, the ball got wedged between two seats.
It did.
Happened to be numbers 65 and 66 out of interest. And I think New Zealand were arguing it had done quite a lot of damage as it wedged itself in there. But they've got the old one back.
I think it's going to make too much difference. England now need 36 more to win. They're at 260 for 3. Normally, gallows humour would dictate, we say, England can probably stuff it up from here, but this summer, the reverse is true. Actually, that was a big wahoo, old style by Johnny Bairstow. Completely missed it. Else pads down to leg gully, and there was no run. So we just got one more ball of Bracewell's over to go. Johnny settles over his bat. Comes down the wicket, gives it the old charge. It's gone just wide of cow, as it were. And they come back. Oh, they've just gone through for 1. I think Johnny's kept the strike. So he moves on to 47. The score's 2-6-1 for 3. 35 more to win.
Ravi Nair says Bairstow and Root competing to have the second most runs this calendar year. Bairstow 735 chasing Root 739. O'Neill Harris says, have New Zealand won a series since the World Test Championships? South Africa and Bangladesh gave them a scare. Yes, they certainly did. Will Johnny leave enough runs for Root to score 100? But unlikely, I would say at the moment. Rajesh Mohan. That was Rajesh who asked that question. Paul Marshall, Root repaying yesterday's butterfingers. Jersey Oak saying, are you switching to the women's match after this or being a bunch of misogynists?
That is a superb on-drive, stand and deliver by Johnny Bairstow for 4. And that's Johnny Bairstow's 50, 51 off 30 deliveries. It seems quite slow by the standards he's setting at the moment.
It's almost remarkable in how unremarkable it is now that a 30-ball test match half century, even a 30-ball test match century would be a hell of a thing. but a 30 ball Test match half century, I'm sure that's some sort of English record or close to. And it's kind of.
You would think. I remember watching the old John Player League. I'll break off for a moment. Southey in again. Johnny just turns his bat on it, and because he plays it so softly, they come through for 2. And Johnny Bairstow is so quick between the wickets on top of all his other virtues that we're rediscovering. He moves on to 53. Cameron, it's time for us, I think, perhaps to start thinking of men of the series. Sorry to be misogynistic, but only men are playing in this series, I would stress. So if you want to have a quick think about who would be your English and New Zealand players of the series, and we'll get back to you after the next ball with your thoughts on that matter. And Johnny relaxes over his bat. There's a fair sprinkling in the crowd for a 5th day.
Free entry today.
Free entry, absolutely. It has a big wahoo at that, completely misses it, and but you can beat your time to do that when there's only 29 more to win. Yes, over to Cameron.
So, players of the series, I think with New Zealand, there's only really 2 candidates. And when I say 2 candidates, that's just to stretch it out a little bit. When there's actually only one, it's Daryl Mitchell. I think he's set all types of records, scored the most runs in a 3-match Test series for a New Zealander ever, and he's kind of just performed where no one else has, really.
Southey in again, just glided very nicely, but there is a point. There's a point to cricket, and there's a point to save Johnny Bairstow there. Back to Cameron.
But Darren Mitchell's had one of the all-time weird series, really, because he's kept on scoring all these runs, and he's kept on trying his best to drop every catch that's kind of come his way. So he's kind of been kind of continuously kind of making it up to his teammates in the way of an apology. But he has absolutely had the best series of any Kiwi over here. So he is definitely the New Zealand player of the series for my money.
He's a shoe-in. Southey in again. And that's just flicked off his legs. It's a leg side half volley. The fielder, I think it's Trent Bolt down there, seemed to have difficulty picking it up and went a couple of yards the wrong way, but gets there in the end, and they come back for 2. And Bairstow moves on to 55. 27 more to win. Yes. How about the England contenders?
Well, England, I'm trying to bring up the stats now because it feels like there's 3 contenders. There's Stokes, Root, and Bairstow, and I think it feels like kind of Johnny Bairstow's series, but I think that's also credit just to how the standard that Root plays at the moment, because Root has had an incredible series. It's just we're so used to it by now.
Yes. The tedium of brilliance. That one kept a bit low, but when there's only 27 more to win, it doesn't really matter too much, and went under Joe Root's bat.
No, I've brought up the numbers here, and it has to. I think this has been a career-defining and career-revitalising series for Bairstow, who he's scoring these runs almost. He often feels like he's playing against everyone, like whether it's his teammates or not. Whereas this time, it really feels like he feels like he has the supporters and the press on his side. And it's been really kind of nice to see Bairstow happy when he's done well, rather than ferociously angry. So I think, as in terms of a player of the series, my vote will go for Johnny Bairstow, although we do also have to recognise that Joe Root has scored almost 400 runs this series at an average of 97, and that's only getting higher at the moment. And he scored a 4th innings match-winning 100 in the first Test at Lords. It's quite nice being this spoilt for choice, really.
It is. It's a great rarity. Sorry, we missed out probably on a few tweets. We might punctuate this over with one or 2.
We can do that. I can hold it.
Well, of course we'll struggle. This is Mitchell Bracewell rather than bowling. And that's just scooted out by Root into the onside. There'll be a single. He moves on to 80.
I was just going to let you know that South Africa in the Test at Taunton, South Africa 119 for 5. Bit of a rebuilding job by Marizan Kapp and Anneke Bosch.
And Cameron points out that was 50 off 30 balls, which is the second fastest Test 50 of all time, only second to Ian Botham's off 28 balls at Delhi in 1981, as in his Annus Mirabilis, as we're now seeing.
I was about to say, quite a year for an 81.
Yes, and in comes Bracewell again, reverse sweep from Johnny Bairstow. Is he out? Did it get the top edge? There seems to be a bit of confusion. Not given out, I think, by the umpire. Kane Williamson is spreading his arms and he's gone for the review. Rather confusing.
Well, I think now definitely in the we might as well. They declined in a review earlier, didn't they? And were right to decline it.
They were right
but
to
there's
decline
no point
it.
in leaving it anymore.
Well, not really. I mean, this is not Headingley 2019 and Tim Payne territory. So they've got 7 more wickets to get rather than 1. So he might as well blow a review now, I think.
Mitchell thinks it was the forearm halfway, sort of between wrist and elbow.
Well, let's have a little look. Did you have an opinion on this one, Cameron? Bit hard to say, isn't it?
My opinion is I've absolutely no idea until I've just seen it, and now I can say very confidently it is not out.
That's right. Well, that's well done. Oh, it wasn't very far away from the wristband. Is the wristband out? Or not?
That's a good question. I think
Wristband
it is. 'Cause it's
is
part
out.
of the glove, isn't it?
It is out. It's considered part of the glove, and I think I only know that because of a very similar situation to this a few years ago, where all of cricket's anoraks were able to get together and remind everyone that it was indeed part of the glove and therefore out.
It's not really part of the glove, though, is it? It's separate from it, I would say. And we need the Council of Nicaea to adjudicate on that, along with an Easter should be. Is the sweatband part of the glove in cricket? That's what they should have been talking about.
Amazing they weren't.
Amazing they weren't, yeah. England, 26 more to win. Mitchell, we just see him going down at first slip, in the wrong position at first slip, keeps missing catches there. And that one is thumped through the offside by Johnny Bairstow for 4 more of these.
In the name of God.
Your call to the Council of Nicaea is on hold.
Was that no, I thought
That was Messi. Where did he suddenly appear from?
I don't know.
And what was he talking about?
I don't know. He was talking about something odd. So that went through to Blundell. No runs were scored, so he didn't miss anything off that ball. A couple more balls of Bracewell's over to go. England 274 for 3, needing 22 more to win. It's all been rather anticlimactic almost, even with the fact that Bairstow scored the second fastest 50 of all time. And he just hits that down to long on and picks up another one. Moves on to 60. Have we lost to Cameron? Still there?
Yeah, I was just thinking it's been quite a scarring first experience in Test cricket, really, for Bracewell. I think I saw a statistic that of bowlers to have bowled 40 overs in a series, he's the most expensive ever.
Oh my word. Well,
he's 1 for 94 here.
Oh my goodness! I mean, he's only been plying his trade for 2 years. It was an act of extreme optimism to think he could be a match winner on a turning pitch in the last innings. Anyway, that's the end of the over. England 275 for 3. Bairstow on 60. Root on 80.
Right, Warren says Mogje Perkins chop on the jingles for the England and South Africa teams. Yes, no, we aren't going to be covering that. Oh, but we are, of course, going to be covering the England and South Africa series, yes. And I'm sure they will fill any gaps there. Josh Hoover says, if they get over the line with Root short of his century but not out, will it affect his conversion rate? That's an interesting question. Paul Coffey says, this England mob definitely has an air of the recent Great Australian era. Every time the question has been asked, someone, often a 5, 6 or 7, has bagged a ton and hence a defendable total results. Yeah, good point. Very good point.
Saudi in again, line and length delivery, defended by Johnny Bairstow. Tony, your English man of the series, who would you go for, do you reckon?
Oh, I think it's hard to look past Bairstow. I mean, I take your point about, what was your lovely phrase, the boredom of excellence? No, you had a wonderful phrase for you just expect it of Joe Root.
Yes,
but
quite.
For genuinely match-changing innings, I think it would be hard not to give it to Bairstow, to be honest.
I think it was the tedium of brilliance.
Yeah,
Saudi comes in again, and that is a little shorter, a little wider, but knocked down to point. No run from Bairstow. It doesn't seem very long ago, about an hour ago, that we were saying, well, you never know, New Zealand, a couple of quick wickets, they might be back into that. No one's saying that now. 275 for 3, needing 21 with 7 wickets in hand.
Ooh, I have an interesting debate and tweet here. Well, if we have time. Paul Dobson first says, use the same lawyers as to... I'm not quite sure what that conversation is about, so I might stay out of it. O'Neill, well, I'll wait till after this ball.
Saudi in again, as we see some happy locals in the crowd enjoying their free cricket, and that's clipped off middle stump. It was a half volley. I think New Zealand have quite rightly thinks the game's up now. It goes through for a run to Bairstow. He moves on to 61.
O'Neill Harris
yes,
says,
sorry.
I was saying, why is it misogynistic to only cover what you enjoy most? You barely have the dollars to do what you can. Enough respect on your sacrifice, Chris. Well, thank you, O'Neill. Yeah, I mean, I think we... personally, I'm only going to answer for me. I enjoy all kinds of cricket, but it is about time and resource, more than desire.
It is. Tim Southey, a crazily wide, wild ball which disappears down the leg side on the full, beats Blundell, beats everything. I assume that's 4. Oh, looks like Joe Root got a bit of something on that.
No,
My
I think he
jerky
did.
TV feed misled me there. My mistake.
Well,
But it's
misled
4
me
runs.
too. Did he? I mean, what do you reckon, Cameron? I've looked at that twice, and I didn't see it come off the bat.
I believe that is absolutely 4 byes. I don't know if it's been credited to Root, or whether we missed the umpire signalling 4 or signalling byes even. But it was an amazing shot. He went for that kind of same reverse scoop they played off Neil Wagner yesterday, only for Southey to throw the ball a mile down the leg side to not let him do it. He also just threw it too far to not allow his wicketkeeper to get anywhere near it also.
Well, it looks like Root's still on 80, which as far as I can remember is what he was on before. So I think byes have gone against
4
Blundell,
byes.
which will not please him. Southey in, let go by Root, straight through to Blundell. Well, these are the last knockings of a magnificent series. Perhaps I could ask you, Cameron and Tony, for your champagne moments from the series, maybe a single moment that will always live in the memory as we draw to its close. Have a think about it. You don't have to answer straight away unless you want to. We'll come back to that after this ball. Last ball of the over. For Tim Southey to Joe Root. And it's a in-swinging full toss, which is clipped off his legs, so he will keep the strike. Joe Root. He cannot now. Well, he could actually get his century. There's 15 to get, and 15 to more for England to win. He's on 81. Bairstow on 61. He certainly can't get his century. England 281 for 3. Tony.
Brian Barish says, good day and good morrow, cricket friends. Finally getting around to listening to the end of this test match after being fully immersed in the American cricket scene over the past few days. Lovely to hear Bish and Forthy hopefully round things up. Jeff Perkins says they will probably email a list of needs halfway through the series. No, Jeff, we'll get you before then. I promise you. That's talking about jingling requirements. Bairstow stopping another Root century. Got to make sure we're fully up to date on India, but I think we are. Jersey Oak says Bairstow stopping for another Root century. Warren says, I heard the word of Messi Jez as he had become the phone operator for the council estate of Nicaea.
Race well. And that's defended off the back foot down to mid-on, no run. Over to Cameron. Any thoughts on your champagne moment yet, Cameron?
I think if I can go for a almost off-the-pitch one, it was when Bairstow at the end of his innings, just Bracewell bowls.
And that is completely missed by Joe Root. And I think he's outside the line. They are appealing. They're not going to go anywhere with that one because they've got no reviews. Yes, back to Cameron.
I think it would either be when Bairstow said after his kind of amazing innings at Trent Bridge that he'd been told at tea to whatever you do, don't think about hitting the ball on the floor, which just made me laugh as a kind of whole idea.
That one's left outside. They appeal, but he's well outside the line. Of course, it didn't matter because he didn't play a shot, but it couldn't have been given, so no run.
Or I would go for Root's reverse ramp off Wagner yesterday, just as kind of the classical test player who's now kind of done the 180 and joined kind of the Bazball phenomenon.
Love it. Great picks. And that's played to mid-wicket by Joe Root, and no run. He'll remain on 281 for 3. Tony, any thoughts on your sort of great moments of the series?
I might go for Bairstow reaching his ton at Trent Bridge.
Yeah, lovely moment. And Joe Root sweeps wide of the man at the 45. That'll go for 4 more of these. He moves to 85. He could actually just, with a 6, get a ton here. It's extremely unlikely. That's the last ball of the over. Flicked down to that deep square leg. He'll keep the strike, giving himself every chance of getting his ton. He moves on to 86, but England only need 10 more to win.
I'm just looking at the revised timings. Did we start at 1:30? Yeah, we did. 2 till 2:30. Yeah, we do a change after this next over, I think. If you want to do,
after
if you
this
want to
over?
see that
Yeah,
through,
sure.
just to give you a fighting chance.
Well, Bear did
seeing it
rather
out.
eat into our time, didn't he? He did rather.
He's a devil.
Slightly. Are we up to date on tweets?
Yes, we are, but I'm going to quickly update you from YouTube. Dean Steve Kelk says, well, I'm off. Thanks for everyone for covering the series. GC Peeps, Sea Gorillas everywhere for the India game. You certainly will. Well, that's Root's possible 100 gone. Yes, it has. Change of bowling.
Unless he gets a 6 to go to his turn, which is be interesting to see him try. Wagner comes around the wicket and just floats it down the leg side. Terrible ball, missed by Root. Sort of shoddy bit of cricket, really.
But jingle up the new bowler for you.
Yes, please do.
Given a shiny red ball, then unleashed upon the pitch. He is Neil Wagner.
Comes in again. That one's more on target. Defended back to the bowler by Root. I would say, Cameron, don't know if you agree, that New Zealand have contributed so much to this series. I feel a little sorry that they are going to lose it 3-0.
I understand where you're coming from, but they've won a lot in recent years, so they're allowed to kind of have their turn on the other side. It's been interesting that they had their 2 retirements last year, in Ross Taylor and BJ Watling, and their replacements.
So that one's just knocked down by Joe Root into the point area, no run.
And their replacements in Mitchell and Blundell have been the 2 players to really step up and perform for them. And it's actually the players that have been around forever, playing so well, that actually kind of have let the side down this series.
I think that's a very fair comment. Messages has posed the question: what has been the gorilla moment in the commentary box of the series? Of course, I haven't seen all of it or heard all of it, but perhaps couldn't comment. Tony might be better placed for that. That's knocked down to mid-wicket, off his toes by Joe Root. No run. Getting a bit nervous now, perhaps, with England needing 10 to win, 7 wickets in hand. I don't think so.
I genuinely don't know is the answer to that question. I kind of enjoy all of it, to be honest. I seem to remember a conversation between me and Hendo about my friend's balls catching fire in the car, and that probably was a lot of fun. I certainly laughed a lot.
As Wagner, that's left alone. I suspect what happens is that everyone's got their own favourite moment for their own commentary stint, haven't they? I did have a great laugh with my friends James and Paul a couple of afternoons ago. And I must apologise if our laughter got in the way of some of the commentary. Are you on? Will we be seeing or hearing from you a bit more over the summer, Cameron?
I imagine so. Well, I need to make sure I keep replying to the emails and saying when.
I think you may owe me a response, but if you've done,
oh yes, I replied to Tony's smug emoji. Last ball of the series for me. Not quite for Joe Root, who defends it. He remains on 86, Bairstow on 61, England 286 for 3, and I will hand you over to bring it all home for the series. I imagine it'll be Bear and Tony, will it?
It is with Messi Jazz.
With Messi Jazz.
Oh, what a fine trio! You couldn't be in safer hands.
That's it. That's right.
You're too kind.
Goodbye.
Thanks, mate. Sleep well.
There we go. I think I've actually set us up right on YouTube.
You have.
Thank
well
you, Cameron.
done,
Hello, welcome back, Bear.
Well, yeah.
We've basically just swapped chairs from earlier.
We have, and this shouldn't last much longer, should it?
Well, I mean, 10 needed. You wouldn't think so.
10 for
7
3.
wickets in hand.
Have England managed 10 for 3? I'm sure they have in the last year.
Fastest half century by Johnny B. 50 and 30 balls.
Yeah.
Bracewell is going to continue. He's about to reach a century of the kind that bowlers tend not to want. He's 1 for 99 of these 15. There is a slip. Back steps Johnny Bairstow, slaps it away through cover, and that's reduced the number of runs needed to 6.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
And his ton-up has come in 15 overs, which is over 6 and over.
Yeah.
Nearly 7.
It has been extraordinary.
That's crazy,
hasn't
isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, 105 would be 7, wouldn't it?
Poor old Blundell was convinced there that was going to drop into his gloves, and then somehow it was such a late shot. Down the track comes Bairstow. He's got that up in the air. Has he gone in the grand manner? Oh, yes, he has. His helmet is off. His bat is in the air. England have won by 7 wickets, and Johnny Bairstow has absolutely finished it in the grand manner. So England have won by 7 wickets with a 6 over deep mid wicket. We should probably play the 6 jingle. Here it is. And what a way to finish.
And that's mad, because Root only needed 46 runs to get a ton, and there were 113 to play with. He's only had his 30 the entire time. Whilst Bairstow's just blazed away at the other end. It's been fantastic cricket by England. I do feel a little sorry for New Zealand. I think they've played extraordinarily good cricket at times in this series, got themselves into really good positions, and every time England, unlike previous incarnations of England that we've seen for the last couple of years, freed from COVID bubbles, have just been free to express themselves under McCullum, and they have done. And Bairstow is just, it's a different Bairstow. I mean, 3 innings ago we were calling for him to be dropped.
Well, yeah, I mean, 71 off 44 today. That incredible innings.
Edgbaston.
And who was it? It was a record he nearly got.
Oh fuck, can't remember. Some dude from 1932 or something, or 1902.
Was it Gilbert Jessop?
Yeah,
it was Gilbert Jessop.
Yes.
Don't forget, Gilbert Jessop wasn't allowed sixes. So unless he actually smacked the ball out of the ground, so it's a bit of a strange measure. But you have to say, anyone who went today, free entry at Headingley. The Western Terrace is looking pretty full. I would imagine it filled up as once the clouds cleared, the play got started.
I bet they filled up too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure
as quick as possible. Yeah.
They absolutely will have done. Man of the series for you, Bear?
I think it'd have to be Johnny B, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think a few people would go along with that. What about you, Messers?
Yeah. Johnny Bairstow, and for New Zealand, Bolt, I think.
Well, it's between well, it could be Daryl Mitchell. He scored 560 runs.
That's true. Yeah.
It's between Bolt and Mitchell.
Mitchell probably, I suppose. The other thing I was going to say when you were talking about moments of the series, us old farts only have very short memories. But to be honest, that shot of Roots yesterday, that reverse scoop for 6. Will stay in my mind for a long time. That was just exquisite.
Well, I might go though. That's a good point, but I might go for the one at Trent Bridge. The only reason being, he'd already done it at Trent Bridge. So when he's done something very similar here, then you've seen it before. But at Trent Bridge, it was like the second ball of the morning, wasn't it?
Something like that.
And everyone was just, what on earth?
Well, I guess
that?
You could also say moment of the series was when. Colin de Grandon bowled Stokes off a no ball, because had that happened, we'd have been looking. It could have been a very different Test series.
Poor old Colin de Grandon.
Yeah, there was some very poor DRS decisions too that could have changed the course of things, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, let's just quickly wrap up this morning, and then.
Sorry, just before you go on, I just wanted to come back with the gorilla moment of the series. I thought your friend's trousers on fire was a very good story, but for me, something totally firstly, it wasn't this series so much, but in terms of the jingle that I liked the most, it was Jeff's jingle about KP and Annie, which I thought was just genius.
So very true.
But in terms of what's happened on Gorilla, I think Gary's humility today was something that should be just seen to be believed. I thought that was unique.
I've always said I was really humble. Yes, the 113 is what England has set off needing. Ollie Pope went pretty early. He was bowled by Southey, really hadn't got his feet moving.
Yep.
Went through a gate. But Joe Root and Johnny B won in absolutely blistering fashion again. 71 for Bairstow off just 44, second fastest Test 50 ever.
He was on course for the fastest ton there. Easy.
He would have done. Yes, he would have done. And Joe Root, just being Joe Root, 86 off 125. They have seen England home. Of the bowlers, obviously one was run out earlier on, so one for 68 for Southey, one for 109 for Bracewell. none for 65 for Bolt, none for 33 for Wagner. Lees and Crawley will be disappointed, but nonetheless, I don't foresee too many changes, do you, for the India series, Ben?
Well, Crawley's the one that's in danger, isn't he? I think Lees gets a bit more time. He's had a couple of decent knocks in this series. Crawley got a 40 in the first innings and really hasn't done much, and has looked like getting out every time he's come to the crease. He hasn't solved his problem, still drives too hard, still gets driven through the gate and still nicks it off. So if there's one position that gets changed, presumably it's Crawley. And if I was England, I'd be going to the next cab off the rank, which should be, what's his name? Hutton, not Hutton.
Are you thinking of Compton?
Compton, that's what I'm thinking of. Brain fade.
Yeah.
Ben Compton.
Yeah, well,
if you'd have said Edrich, I could have just about forgiven you.
I was just thinking
their names Compton and Edrich next to each other.
Well, no, I was just thinking old dude who used to bat well for England.
Well, that's quite a long list. Len Hutton was what surfaced, was it?
Oh yeah, Len Hutton was the one that surfaced.
There you go, Hobbs.
Well, exactly. There are a few.
Only on Guerrilla Cricket.
Well, there we are. Anyway, Messers, final
couple
messages.
of tweets. Umbre Nuova says, thanks as always, Guerilla Cricket, for the great work over the airwaves. It's been our pleasure, Umbre Nuova, and it's just so good to have so many of you with us, talking to us and sharing your joy. O'Neill Harris says New Zealand have been poor. If not for Mitchell and Blundell, they would have lost by an innings in each game.
True.
Yep. Warren says, is this Stoke Cullen madness, a trademark, going to continue against India on Friday?
Well, I hope so.
It'll be interesting to see. A reminder to you all that the India Test match starts half an hour earlier every day. So we're on there from 20 past 10 this coming Friday. For the India match.
Glad you told me that.
Ravi Nair says Bairstow, 774 runs, now has the most by any batter in this calendar year. Root is second with 754. Khawaja is third with 751. That's pretty remarkable. And Nunes says Gorilla of the series is always Grimy Bear when there's a technical fault. I tell you what, it was very fucking impressive yesterday when we fell out altogether, and there's Bear sitting in the car park of Sainsbury's, his car having broken down as well, I hear, fixing us getting back on air. I think that's fucking genius.
With Dropbox on an iPhone, and it wasn't easy. It's just such a small screen. And of course, you don't have a keypad, you don't have a mouse or a mouse pad, or you don't have a keyboard either. I hardly ever use it on my phone, so you can choose all these things, but you've got to remember how to do it. It only took about 5 minutes, so that wasn't too bad.
Just very quickly on the man of the series point, because thank you to Josh, by the way, who's sent us these stats over our sort of internal WhatsApp chat group. But he said Root finished on 396 for the series at 99, Bairstow on 394 at 78.8, Mitchell on 538 at 107.6.
Wow.
So he is an absolute class act, Daryl Mitchell.
Absolutely. He's had a class act, but generally man of the series doesn't go to a losing team, does it? You know, it's got to be someone on the winning side. But and as much as those stats do that, the sway has been twice made by Johnny B, and he's been a match winner in 2 situations, and so has to go to him really, I think.
Messers, any more messages before we
there's
depart?
a couple on YouTube. Sorry. Thank you for finally getting to hear some cricket from Dan McQuillan. A bit sad it was my team losing 3-0. Sorry, Dean, but give them some breaks.
It's been a good series, though.
It has, and New Zealand have been terrific. And Brian says, thank you so much, Brian, for your presence.
Yes.
I'm off to the Northamptonshire game at 4 p.m. Free entry after tea. That's
Brilliant.
excellent. That's county cricket is back, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
So that's great. So thank you all for being with us, both on YouTube and there. And thank you for our patrons. We've had, so far this month, I think we've got 25 new patrons. And many of you have joined us in the Discord channels. It's great to have you there, great to have a chat, and you're very welcome to come and join us on Patreon at patreon.com facebook.com/guerrilla cricket. We'd love you to join the family. As it were.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it. I think
That's it.
I will just very quickly. Well, obviously England have won this. They've wrapped up the series. They've won this by 7 wickets. They've wrapped up the series 3-0. First time since 2013 they got a clean. They've got won a series with a clean sweep.
I think it's first time. I think it's the first time in Test history that a side has won 3 tests of a series, chasing over 250 or plus.
Yeah. So all kinds of things. 148 for 5 is the situation at Taunton. That little rebuild by Madison Cap and Annika Bosch is still chugging along really quite nicely. But we're done until Friday when we
10:30,
absolutely
10:20.
will be back with you, and we cannot wait to see you.
Where England get the chance to level the series left over, hanging over from last year. Which will be weird. But so we're off. Here's the theme tune. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla.
Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara,